Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Simulated racing can be awesome, but it can also be kind of a free-for-all. Interestingly, auto racing faced the same problem in its earlier days. Whether it was on the back roads, the beaches, or the city streets, the racing was fun. But there was always a certain level of chaos and danger, until some folks came along and put some order to all of this. Stuff like official racetracks, regulations about weight and equipment, and enforcement of standards. That's what gave us high-speed excitement, fast-paced action, and photo finishes. That's when racing became racing. The guys over at iRacing.com have made the same transformation in the world of sim racing. Sure, they've got the most accurate tracks and realistic cars out there, but that's just the start. See, iRacing analyzes the performance and results of each driver in every race, so you can be sure you're always placed in races where the competition will be tight, and that those reckless drivers who ruin it for us all are kept in the pits. Not to mention that with over 45,000 active members already in their vast community, you can find races day and night, so you can always get in on the action. You can even join a league of your favorite series. And since updates are always automatic, you don't have to worry about software and can focus on the track. Zip up your fire suit and check out iRacing.com.
Welcome, race fans, to the Atlanta Motor Speedway for NMNTS BA Graphix Cup Series action. And tonight, we've got, yeah, just that, Cup Series actors from Atlanta. And Brennan, nice to have you alongside of me at least, because this will be a doozy for us to call. The Cup cars at Atlanta are just unruly. And I think that's the easiest way to explain exactly what we'll be seeing tonight. Brendan, can you bring up our track facts and race facts for tonight?
Alrighty, well, tonight we are looking at a mostly cloudy track. Uh, Ambient temperature 65 degrees, track temp is 76 degrees. Taking place in the afternoon, obviously, as you can tell. And we have humidity of 55% and winds to the north at 2 miles an hour. So not really too much of a factor from the wind, but much different racetrack than we saw last night, though.
Yeah, and these guys will be fighting for every last bit of grip. I believe we are running 162 laps. Is that correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Sounds right. All sounds awesome, really. 162 laps is going to be. I mean, it's going to be grueling for the drivers out on the track, but it's going to be grueling for us up here in the booth as well. That's a lot of laps. That's 250 miles around Atlanta, and quite frankly, this is one of the most challenging racetracks on the NASCAR circuit. It's not easy. It's brutal. It's like Darlington in that it's brutal. It's a driver's track, and we're going to see that come into play tonight. Brendan, it looks like Mark Broderick was our practice leader. Can you run us through the top 10 in practice?
Sure. As you mentioned, Mark Broderick first. Second place going to Tyler Justice, followed with Alan Westman in third. Fourth is Jared Beasley. Fifth, Clayton Kurtz. Mark Bruno is going to be sixth. Seventh is Zachary Lindgren. Eighth is Spence Thompson. Ninth is going to be Christopher Matthews. And the top 10 rounding out goes to Terry Mason.
And following up Mason in 11th will be Jason Alexander in the number 5 car. And looks like he was just shy of 2/10 over, or I guess behind, practice leader Mark Broderick, his teammate actually over at Gunslinger Racing and Evil Outlaw Motorsports. Hope I got those right. Jared Wishon, WFO Motorsports development driver, in the number 51 tonight, will be 12th in practice. Trevor Harmon in 13th from Riot Motorsports. Jason Burgess will come home for practice in 14th with Bradley Wilson 15th, David Heiza in 16th, Craig Lerman in 17th, Cody Spiker in 18th, Derek Robinson in 19th, and Kenneth Yantz brings it home in 20th.
Alrighty, picking back up in 21st, we have Gordon Larson, followed by Robbie Bucker, 22nd. 23rd is going to go to Michael Redding. 24th will be Matthew McKeekin. 25th going to Corey Walters. 26th to John Barron. And rounding out the field tonight will be Kenny Yantz, 27th. Did I say that right?
That is correct, and I will say, Matthew McMeekin, that's a brand new name to my ears. We'll see how he does tonight in the number 14 car. And also, I will say, Robbie Buckner will not be participating in the event tonight. He will be the admin, actually, for tonight's race. And real quick, actually, let's spectate Tyler Justice as he rolls out of the pit lane to qualify for tonight's 162-lap event. He's got the SimSpec livery on that number 7. Brendan, can you walk us through this lap for him?
Alrighty, well, he's going to start up on the high side, try and build up whatever speed he can get, and then I think he'll dive it towards the bottom and just about push out as much as he can get out of the tires. I think that's, as you mentioned, going to be a big battle tonight. He's searching for grip and as much as he can find here. He's coming through the tri-oval now. He's going to start his flying lap. You see him now come towards the middle. I don't think we'll go all the way down. It does get right down to the white line to help him with a drive off the corner there. A little bit of contact actually there. That's going to hinder the lap time there. He may reset.
Yeah, he's going to bring it into the pits and reset his lap. Means he'll only have one more shot to get a fast lap in. So now we'll switch over to his teammate, actually, Mike Bruno, and see what he's doing here in qualifying. He's got a brand new paint scheme on that, number 19 as well. And it's the first time we get to see it here on PSI TV, and I actually kind of like this, the change-up for him. I think it's a really new, good-looking, I guess, look for him. It's different. I like it.
Yeah, just took a second there to take a look at it myself. Definitely is a bit of a change-up for him. I have to agree with you, though. I also like it.
And these cars are just, I mean, they're going to be off the rails tonight. I think that's the greatest way to say it, really, is they will be tough to handle. They're super fast, and they're hard to actually get to the floor. It's hard to actually get the pedal all the way down the floor, down the front stretch, and that's not normal, but with the lack of downforce in both the front and the rear, the car likes to walk a lot throughout the bumps in the quad oval, and with the just immense horsepower hooking up in the rear tires, it's really hard to actually control these cars. And we'll go through some more of these drivers and their paint schemes tonight. You can see Clayton Kurtz here. We saw Jason Alexander a moment ago. We'll check out Derek Robinson, as actually he's just sitting in the pits right now. Terry Mason, as he comes down the pit lane. Alan Westman, as he is also sitting in the pits. Cody Spiker, actually, he just wrecked on his qualifying lap. Mark Broderick is also on the track in the Kmart Little Caesars Ford Fusion. And there's Zach Lindgren, last night's winner in the SimSpec Championship Series. Brendan, do you think that makes him the favorite here tonight?
Yeah, I'd have to say definitely be one to look out for. These are kind of a different beast, though, so you can't really, I think, compare the truck to these, especially at this track. They drive a lot differently, whereas last night we had a lot of grip. Now we are searching for whatever we can get out of him, so...
Yeah,
he just hits the wall there.
Yeah, you see that perfectly right there with Zach Lindgren. He plows the wall down out of turn 2, and he's going to end up hitting it in turn 3 as well. He definitely has some issues in that number 85 right there. But these cars, I think you said it great there, are completely different. Obviously, there's way less downforce. You can just look at that and notice that by looking at the rear spoiler. If you know just a little bit about NASCAR racing, I'm sure you can pick up on that. The rear spoilers of the trucks are just massive, not to mention the front splitters. And, there are front splitters and rear spoilers on these cars, but they're much smaller, and they produce much less downforce. And also, last night's race was run it was still the late afternoon, I believe, but it was very overcast and it was very cool, whereas this race is quite a bit warmer, and it's in the sunlight, so that means the sun is beating down on this track and warming it up, and makes this track very, very slick.
It definitely, I think it was 65 degrees track temp last night, so there's a difference of 11 degrees to it. That definitely is going to be a bit more of a factor tonight.
Definitely, and as we watch Trevor Harmon out of Fort Mojave, Arizona, complete his qualifying run, he's got Flip Switch Gaming and Emerge NYC on the car. A couple of great little... Flip Switch actually is a gaming company that made a game called Emerge NYC. Obviously a play on words with emergency and NYC, New York City. It is on Steam. You can check it out. I'm not sure on the price, but I do believe it is on Steam, so you can check that out if you are at all interested. I would definitely suggest it, and I can see him having some troubles in qualifying. You can just see all of these drivers having issues, Brendan, and this is going to be the story of the night.
Yeah, and this is going to be a long race, too. We have 162 laps around here, so it's going to be definitely a battle of keeping your stuff together there, having something for the end.
Definitely. I think these guys are all going to be screaming for tires at some point tonight, or throughout most of the race. 162 laps, 250 miles. It's half the length of the NASCAR Cup Series races, but that doesn't really mean it's going to be any easier, and it's not going to feel like it's anything shorter, because these guys, they still have pretty high force feedback in their wheels, especially with some of the newer wheels with direct drive or whatever it is, and it wears you out. You might not think it would wear you out on sim racing, but it really does, Brendan, and I know you know that firsthand.
Yeah, definitely. I don't quite have a direct drive wheel, but I have probably the highest force feedback you can get out of a belt-driven one still, that being the Club Sport, and definitely you crank the force feedback up on there and it tires you out. I think we had a little bit of that issue when we did Daytona there. We were all pretty well beat afterwards, especially, being up for 24 plus hours too.
Yeah, I think, a 24-hour race has a lot more, I guess, fatigue along with it than, it's probably be 2-3 hours at the most. It's definitely a different beast, but this is still going to be really tiring to the drivers. 162 laps means, each end of this track twice each lap, so you know you're still doing 324 rounds of each side of this track. I guess that. Well, okay, so I should say I can talk. I'm sorry. I should say 324 corners, and you know you can get into a debate on whether or not it's 4 corners or 2. I think most of the rest of the world would actually say this is a 2-cornered track, just like most ovals, whereas us Americans like to say, no, that's 4, even though it's one continuous bend. But either way, it's a ton of corners, and I wish we could get an onboard. I'll see if we can get an onboard with one of these guys, because it is just straight up rough. I'll even track down Tyler Justice. I think that's a great way to see exactly what I'm talking about here. Then we'll go into our pole interview. It looks like Jared Beasley will be our pole sitter here tonight, actually. So we'll try and get Tyler Justice on screen for you. Again, we'll try. Be patient with me. Alright, so this will be a perfect example of exactly how rough this place is. Just watch. This is the onboard of the number 7 going through the corners here at Atlanta on his qualifying run. And you can see this is not stable at all through the corners, and then even especially down the straightaways too, now that they've done updates to this car. And let's see if we can get a better angle here. You'll see just how many bumps there are in this track. It's really just insane. These guys have a wild beast at their hands for 162 laps tonight, Brennan, and I can't wait to see what they can do with it, but it's going to be tough.
Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned, I think it'll be a battle of attrition on who's going to have a decent race car still left at the end of the race.
Definitely. And now we're going to bring up pole sitter. It's going to be Jared Beasley from Evil Outlaw Motorsports, and I'll bring him up for you whenever you are ready.
Ready. Jared, it's Brendan up here in the PSI booth. You got a copy of this?
Yeah, I got you, Brendan.
Alrighty, well tonight it looks like you're going to be our pole sitter with your teammate Mike Bruno going to be to your outside tonight. How's that feeling for you guys for a decent pole in second place?
Yeah, pretty excited about getting the pole. Hoping we can keep it up front, make up for last night's situations. So.
Yeah, well, let's get some more into last night. So obviously our completely different car, and then we have what I'd say is a completely different track. It's almost complete opposites here. You're struggling to find grip, and last night there was a lot of it out there. How's that going to play into how you race tonight?
Yeah, tires are definitely going to be a factor in tonight's race. Tires is, and also pit strategy. Because they redid the stages. Now we're doing 40, 40, and then 82 to the finish. So I believe during that 82 green flag run, or if we have a green flag run, we'll be doing a bunch of strategy green flag pitting. So
It definitely.
It's gonna take a thought, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think that was maybe a little bit of news to me, at least on the new stage there. So that should be interesting come late race. You have anything you'd like to give away, maybe a little bit, when you guys think you will come in, or is it something you just haven't predicted yet?
Honestly, we haven't even thought about it yet. We don't even know the how many laps we can go on fuel, anything like that, how long the tires really last, you know. But I'm sure we'll end up figuring it out and making a plan along the way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we'll give you an opportunity here. You want to shout out anybody?
Just JB Paints, Extreme Lawn Care, everybody at MR. Thank all of them. They make me a better driver every single week. But that's it.
Alrighty, well, congratulations again with securing the pole tonight, and hopefully we'll be able to see you maybe in victory lane.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And that was Jared Beasley from Evil Outlaw Motorsports. He talked about a couple of key things there I want to talk about, actually. The stage length, or stage lengths, I should say, plural. You're going to start off with 40 lap stages to break up. That's going to get you pretty much to halfway. From there, you'll have to go just under 80 laps under green, provided there's no cautions in between the start of stage 3 and the end of the race. These guys run full fuel, just like the NASCAR Cup cars, so we actually saw a bit of strategy played by the number 11 and the number 22 teams in that race, in the actual Cup race here. And they could go about 55 laps if they were really ambitious. That's the word. Ambitious. They could go about 55 laps. The thing with this is sim racing, and I think these drivers will be more keen to really push the tires a bit more than maybe they should, and I think they'll wear through their tires a bit quicker than the actual Cup guys do, because they actually have setups that are tailored to their driving styles and can go around here a bit better, whereas these guys are all on one setup, not necessarily tailored to what they like. Excuse me. And, there will be issues with that. So I think we'll get about 45, 50 laps, which means they'll be pitting probably halfway through that final stage. So that's going to come in key, like Jared was talking about, and obviously tire conservation is everything at a place like Atlanta. We saw that last night with Zach Lindgren. That's why he was able to get back by Jared for the race win. So, Brendan, with that piece of information, what are your expectations here tonight?
Well, I think, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of it, like I said, will be coming down to just who can keep the race car together. I think we'll just the nature of the beast here, we may see some cautions of that form, just because it's going to be kind of unstable to control the cars tonight. So whoever has a better car, I think, will definitely have a much better shot at coming home with the win tonight. And then it just comes down to that strategy, which it seems like a lot of the teams are just going to be just on the fly. So let's see how that plans out for them.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting to see what these teams do, because it's really surprising to me actually that Jared Beasley doesn't know how long they can go on fuel and tires, but it will be relatively close to what the actual Cup teams can do. So that's a little piece of information for everybody watching. And I'll let race control know that we are ready to go. And we should be advancing anytime. We'll go through the results real quick. Can you give us the top 5 here?
Alrighty. As we mentioned with the blue night, will be Jared Beasley, followed by his teammate Mike Bruno in second, and then another teammate, Mark Broderick, in third. Fourth will be Zach Lundgren, the first WFO drivers. Vince Thompson, another one, in fifth.
And the rest of your top 10 will be filled out by Jared Wishon, WFO development driver. And let's get back over there, actually. Tyler Justice will end up in 7th place for the start of this race, with Cody Spiker to his outside, brand new to this series. He is with Daniels Cardinal Incorporated. Bradley Wilson will be starting 9th in the number 18 here tonight. And Matthew McMeekin, if I can actually get that out this time, will be starting in the 10th spot. A name that I haven't seen anywhere, whereas all these names I've seen at least once before. So here's another look through the rest of the qualifying results, and now we'll go down to the grid. Brendan, I'll give you the top 10.
I'm sorry, what?
So we're going to have Jared Beasley starting off on the pole, like we've mentioned a couple of times now, and Mike Bruno will join him on the front row in 2nd place. Mark Broderick in 3rd. Zach Lindgren, in 4th place on the outside at Los Lunas, New Mexico. In 5th, we'll have Spence Thompson. 6th, Jared Wishon. 7th, Tyler Justice. 8th, Cody Spiker. 9th, Bradley Wilson. And 10th, Matthew McMeekin. To you, Brennan.
Alrighty, picking up in 11th will be Alan Westman, with Clayton Kurtz to his outside. 12th, 13th, going to Jason Burgess, with Jason Alexander to his outside. Starting 15th will be Terry Mason with Corey Walters in 16th to his outside. David Heiza will start 17th with Kenneth Yance to his outside. Trevor Harmon start inside in 19th with Kenny Yance in 20th to his outside.
In 21st, we'll have Derek Robinson in the number 818 car out of Canada. John Barron will be starting to his outside in 22nd with Christopher Matthews rolling off tonight from 23rd. He did not put down a qualifying time. Neither did Michael Redding to his outside in the number 03. In row number 13, we will have Craig Lerman and Gordon Larson Jr., and that will complete our lineup here tonight. And as these guys roll off of the grid, Brendan, I'll tell you what, I'm having some issues just getting the most basic words out tonight.
Yeah, I think for a little break we had there, we've all had a thing or two co-memorized, so I think we're all just getting back into the norm again.
And I tell you what, we got some snow here in California this morning, and I mean, it wasn't much. It was a dusting. It was already gone by the time I got home, but I think it's getting me sick because I am just short of breath. So everybody watching, sorry in advance, but I may be a little short with what I say, but we'll try and do our best to work with that. And these guys are pacing around to turns 3 and 4 for the final time before getting this race under green. Brennan, is you for the call as these guys come 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, and you get the rest into turns 3 and 4. And coming out of the corner, it's all to you.
Alrighty, so we ready to come out of turn 4 here. Jared Beasley and Mark Bruno, both teammates on the front row. We have to wait for the green here before anyone can go, so it should be a decent jump by both. And they're off away. And as I said, they both got a pretty decent start. The 32 of Broderick got a little bit loose behind him. Actually, Spence Thompson's going to try and make a move here. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 1 with Bradley Wilson on the high side. Or, no, excuse me. Jared Rashawn on the high side.
And I'm not so sure that's the greatest strategy necessarily to go 3 wide on lap number 1, but you see these guys making it work so far. Jared Rashawn coming through, trying to get to 4th. Zach Lindgren now gets into 3rd. And you saw the 51 push right up to the wall. That's why you don't want to be getting too rough on lap number 1. You get in a situation you might not be the best in, and you saw him get tight there, but he kept it off the wall, and that's just the new guy, you know, getting used to the league and getting adjusted, and I think he'll get that worked out. Further back, right at the break-off, I guess, for the top 10, Jason Burgess and Clayton Kurtz battling for the 10th position with Terry Mason close behind.
Yeah, maybe go back and mention Jared Rashawn there. He's running way up, and I don't know if you can see, but there are marbles on the track up there still, so he needs to be really careful what he's doing. Otherwise, he may have a car that go around. Actually, we see the 90 get sideways. He's sliding it. He's going to be able to recover. That's a good save there. Terry Mason's going to try and go around the outside now.
Yeah, Clayton Kurtz is one of those guys that will put that car up on the top side, bottom side, no matter where he has to. I didn't really see what happened, but he'll do whatever he has to do with the car. He'll drive it sideways. It doesn't matter to him. He'll drive it however it's given to him, and he'll drive it as hard as he can, and he just never gives up, I guess. He's just completely relentless. So it'll be interesting to see how he does throughout the season. Sorry. I literally just bit my tongue. Wow, that hurt. But he's going to be running a lot of super late model races on Sundays, and I believe he just picked up a full-time ride in the SimSpec Championship Series on Monday nights as well in the number 16 for Riot Motorsports. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out.
Zach Lindgren's going to assume the lead here. Get past Mike Bruno.
Wow, yeah, Zach Lindgren. We didn't think he would maybe, have just what it takes to repeat, but so far that high-wraps Toyota Camry is proving us wrong here, Brennan. He just powered right to the front.
It definitely. I think he's pushing up a little bit there. I don't know if this tire strategy is going to be such a key factor as it was last night. I do believe we can make it to those stage marks 40 pretty easily. It's just what you have left in the tank come 40, but a little bit later on it may be something to pay attention to. For people like Zach, although we mentioned Zach last night, he does a pretty good job with the tire management. So I may see him up front again, and then maybe fall back, and then he'll storm away towards the end.
Yeah, we'll see what he can do. It is kind of interesting to me that he's out front so early. It is only lap 6, now lap 7 of 162, and he's just powered that number 85 straight to the lead. That's kind of interesting to me, but then again, if you got a good thing going, why quit? So Zach Lindgren taking the IRAPS Toyota straight to the front. And you saw a bit of a bobble there out of turn 2 from Mark Broderick. He'll fall to 4th. Now Jared Beasley to his outside. Doesn't make any sort of move into 3 and 4. These guys will go back to single file. 4 Evil Outlaw Motorsports cars filling out the rest of the top 5 behind leader Zach Lindgren. But look who's right behind Jared Beasley. That's going to be Spence Thompson. And Brendan, I guarantee you he wants to get up into that top 5 as well.
It definitely. He's got to play it a little cautious. You can't push too hard into him, otherwise you'll start to cook the tires off too much, and then you'll start to fall out. So I think it's just patiently work your way up there. Don't try and get tenths per second off. Let it play out. I see actually the 22 of Cody Spiker is going to try and make a move to his inside here.
Yeah, the brand new acquisition for Daniels Cardinale Incorporated of Cody Spiker. He comes from the All-Star Sim Racing Series where Bradley Wilson has actually tested the waters and we started from. So it's cool to see him getting his feet wet with the NMNTS, trying something new, and right now running 7th place. I haven't seen him ever run on a Cup car, so this is interesting to me to see him doing so well. We've seen him struggle a couple of times. He's a great driver. We've just seen him struggle a couple of times with the truck, so maybe just not his car. But I think he's done better in the Xfinity car, and obviously these low downforce Cup cars right now running 7th, almost 6th if he can get by the 89 of Spence Thompson, but that's not going to be anything easy to get by Spence.
No. Up ahead, Tyler Justice has passed his teammate Mark Bruno, and he's starting to chase down Zach Lindgren now, so I think might see Tyler Justice out front again tonight.
And that's more expected to me in the NMNTS Racing Series based on the past, to see Tyler Justice work his way into the lead and just take control of this race. That's Tyler Justice. Although normally he doesn't have to really work his way up. Normally he starts on the pole because he's already that fast. So it's kind of interesting to me. Oh, contact actually into the wall. That was Cody Spiker further back. He'll keep it straightened out, but already Tyler Justice showing he's got something in that number 7, and he has run down our leader Zach Lindgren. And I'm not sure if Zach can really do anything to keep him from getting by.
I don't know. As we come to say that Tyler Justice is just he's got something that everybody else doesn't when it comes to how he's able to carry the speed. He does a really good job of it. So he's definitely one to see out front a lot of the times. I think that's where he feels really comfortable too. So.
Yeah, and he's already just about by the 85. He's just, I don't know. I don't know how he does it, but he just goes and he doesn't stop. He's like Clayton Kurtz. He just does not stop. He's relentless. Even last night when he was 3 laps down with a ton of damage to his truck, he was still going and, turning laps at least just to get the experience and get the points and whatnot. And now he's right back to the lead, rebounding from last night pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully he can keep it out there tonight, though. You mentioned last night, unfortunately, got caught up in an incident that, as he mentioned, put him down 3 laps. So maybe a little bit of redemption here at Atlanta for him.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me that he didn't win last night, but obviously the wreck took him out. He didn't really have a chance to fight that, but he was really my pick going into it to sweep the whole weekend. He won at New Smyrna. And started off the weekend on a high note. Then Zach Lindgren won last night, which was really just unexpected to me. And Tyler Justice was just nowhere to be seen because he did get, I believe it was contact with Jackson Allen actually, got pushed up into the fence and ended up getting hit from behind. I think it was Matthew Welsenbach who just had nowhere to go. And it just completely totaled both sides of the truck, and he fell way back and just never really had a chance from there. It's just, I don't know, going into a mile and a half after his dominant run last season, especially in the Truck Series, I just never expected him to be in that sort of position. But I believe that was brought on by the fact that he had an issue in the pits and lost a ton of spots, caution out in the back.
The 23 at Jason Burgess, looks like.
And I just called something with my mic being shut off, but it was Michael Redding who took the big hit right at the end of that. You saw it on the screen. He got hit by Kenny Yance, the number 77, and you can see the 03 trying to make it back to the pits. He'll barely get there, but he's got a lot of damage to that BA Graphix Toyota Camry. And let's get a replay on this. This looked big. So you mentioned it had something to do with Jason Burgess here, and he was ahead of Michael Redding, so I believe you're right. This probably starts with the 23. He had actually, yeah, he got loose out of turn 2 and was just trying to catch it. Ends up almost clobbering the number 90 of Clayton Kurtz. Ends up tagging his teammate of Michael Redding, sending him around. It was a little while after that we saw the number 77 just have nowhere to go other than right into the number 03 of Michael Redding. And that, okay. Sorry. RTVO was being a bit picky there, but we'll see the number 77 here in just a moment through turns 3 and 4. Just has nowhere to go. We'll even go on board with him to show you exactly, you know, what he sees ahead of him. It's just, I mean, what can you do in this kind of situation?
Yeah, and wisely everybody comes down to pit lane here to get full service.
You can see the whole hood already knocked off of that number 77, a ton of damage. And we'll see what he can do. Obviously not going to be anything good at this point. He's got a ton of damage. He's going to, I guarantee he'll probably try and get back out on the track and salvage what he can. But just already a terrible start to the night for Kenny Johnson. It's really going to hurt him. But what I noticed when I was looking at replays for that caution, there was something that sent Bradley Wilson all the way to the back of the field. And he is 10 laps down.
He had connection issues. I see that popped up in the iRacing messages there.
Well, I guess that would do it then. I guess that, you know, that makes sense. As far as why a driver wouldn't be on the track. Under this caution flag, we're going to bring in our leader, Tyler Justice. And Brendan, I'll give him to you for a quick talk with the number 7.
Good. Hey Tyler, it's Brendan up here in the PSI booth. You got a copy with us?
Yes, sir.
Well, sir, that didn't really take you too long to be in a familiar spot for you here. Back to the lead, started 7th tonight. How's the car feeling for you?
It feels pretty good. Yeah, we qualified 7th there, a little bit towards the almost middle of the pack, and wanted to get up here real quick and lead the lap just to get a bonus point. And I knew I killed my tires pretty bad getting up through here, so I was waiting to drop back like a rock, but luckily the caution came out there, so now we got us some good track position, and I'll see what we can do with it here.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, maybe a little bit of redemption for you. Obviously, last night not really going your way, so any plans coming with the new stage, with that long stage of about a pit stop, anything like that figured out yet?
Mainly just save the tires like it always is. Just got to save the tires in case it goes green all the way through that last long part there. So if we can do that, I think we'll have a shot at it.
Alrighty, bud. Well, we got the signal from the pace car. We got a lap to go, so I'll go ahead and get you moved back down here.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Again, that was Tyler Justice, number 7, tonight for Evil Outlaw Motorsports. And I will warn you now, we are having a small connection issue. We're bringing it back. It's coming back slowly, so welcome back, everybody. I think the broadcast may have been interrupted for just a moment, but it's working itself out. I noticed we were dropping some frames, went to fix it, and it broke itself some more before fixing again. So we got it worked out, I do believe, and oh, that needs to come off the screen. And it's not. 10-4, okay. Sorry, we're having a bit of an issue. Steam is deciding to update things, and if you are into gaming on PC, you'll know that Steam likes to really suck power out of your computer, so that would explain why we were having some issues. But nonetheless, Tyler Justice coming to the restart as your leader. He has familiar faces all around him, and he will get going. Green flag in the air. Jared Beasley actually getting loose. He's going to come back down. That's melee in the back.
The 85. A big hit from the 15 there, unfortunately.
Yeah, Jared Beasley with some major issues. No caution yet. iRacing hasn't thrown it, and I don't think they're going to throw it. It's not at the admins, it is on iRacing. So iRacing decides not to throw the caution. We'll go back and get another look here. This was Jared Beasley just getting loose on the restart. And you'll see the pole sitter has some issues, ends up going high, trying to catch the car, comes back down low, tags the 14. I think he might have missed the 85, gets the 69 though. I think everybody else should get by relatively unscathed. We'll get another look at this though. Big issues here already.
Yeah, caught up with the 85. Looks like he does have some right front damage. Notice that. I'll see a check for the 14 here as well. Unfortunately, it looks like he got a little bit more than Zach did there, but so yeah, both of them gonna have some right front damage.
And we'll get the slow-mo on this shot. You see tags both of those guys, yeah, McMeekin and Lindgren. Then gets John Barron as he's spinning in the center of the track. Almost clips Kenny Yance and Christopher Matthews. You see other drivers in the back get it woed down. And already the number 15 pretty much, I think, will be done. Yeah, definitely done for the night. No hood on the car, and he'll have to wait in the pits for a while for required repairs. But back up to the front, Tyler Justice actually lost the lead to teammate Mike Bruno. Now the number 19 SimSpec Chevrolet is in the lead, and this is something we'll see probably most of the season, this SimSpec tandem, but you also have the number 22 of Cody Spiker coming into the picture.
Definitely, he is right there right now. He's not too far back. Actually going to make some ground here, looks like. Maybe pushing a little bit harder than the two in front of them are.
But that's almost... Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. You're fine.
I was going to say it's almost allowable considering they don't have as far as to run anymore in this stage. They only... Or I think they have like 15 laps fewer now to run on these tires, so it's not quite the long haul. It's still, longer than you might get in an official race, considering you get cautions in those pretty often, but this could be green to the end of the stage, and I think these guys can push pretty decently hard and not really have to worry about tires too much, considering they only have to go, I think, 20 laps from the restart.
I believe we're going to lap 40, so that means we just would have 16 to go right now.
Yeah, 20 laps of the restart from a couple of laps ago. So
yep.
I think these guys are pretty much in the clear as far as being able to push. And now here comes Cody Spiker looking underneath the number 7 of Tyler Justice, trying to get the position. Tyler going to lock that position down. We were just talking with him, and he doesn't really know the game plan. Neither did Jared Beasley a little while ago, so these guys are just kind of winging it, and normally it works out pretty good. Let's be honest. You know, it's Tyler Justice and Mike Bruno, and right now it's working pretty good, this tandem up front, but you can't forget about Cody Spiker. I mean, he's just right there. I'm kind of at a loss for words because it's so rare that you see somebody just drive right up to Bruno and Justice and challenge them for a lead like this.
Yeah, looks like he's making a lot of the time up in entry, so I think he's got something figured out here. Inches closer and closer. Just about a car length between them, and then falls back a little bit on the drive off there.
Yeah, he is certainly here, and he is certainly trying. But if these guys get to battling here soon, Brennan, you know what that could cause? That could bring the number 89, or Spence Thompson, right into the picture. He's lurking right now. He's there, just kind of waiting for an opportunity as these guys battle ahead.
Definitely. You know, being the Season 1 champion in the trucks, he's definitely someone to look out for. He's definitely a seasoned driver for the NMNTS, so I think just waiting for his opportunity to bounce, maybe.
Definitely, and that would also actually bring in Jared Washawn. I was looking further back. I noticed the 51 also in the picture, pretty close behind, and these guys, I'm very surprised they're so packed up right now. You can see the first 7 cars pretty much in a train around Atlanta Motor Speedway. That's not exactly characteristic of this place. Normally, it really separates the boys from the men, if you will, and it really just, it finds the best driver on the track that night and puts them out ahead by miles, and nobody can usually touch them, i.e. Kevin Harvick. it's interesting to me to see all these cars and a train so close together.
Yeah, definitely, and we saw a lot of that action for a little while, or at least, coming from the stage breaks and from cautions in the trucks. But as we mentioned, these are a little bit different beasts, so it's cool to see though some nose to tail action. Always a little bit more exciting than everybody being spread out.
Oh, for sure, and we'll probably see some more of this kind of racing at other tracks throughout the season. No matter what series it is, even the Super Late models, we'll see these battles. But I think just it's surprising to me to see this in Atlanta, because this track, again, just separates skill from the lack thereof. And I'm not saying anyone in this field is necessarily unskilled, because they all obviously are to be in this league. That's unquestionable. If you question somebody's skill in this league, then I feel for you, because everybody here has skill and they have plenty of it. But it normally favors the guys who are just the best that night, and it's hard to touch them. And that's why I was so surprised last night with Tyler Justice not winning that race. He got caught up in that incident, really because of a pit stop woe. I don't know what happened to him. It wasn't necessarily his fault, because we didn't get an explanation, unfortunately. But that's what set him back, and that's what got him into that situation. But tonight, I think it's quite the opposite, where Tyler Justice so far in second place and right on the leader, Mike Bruno, his teammate. This is kind of what I'm getting at, is these guys, they're now starting to pull away from Cody Spiker and Spence Thompson and everyone else, and I think these two are pretty much the best in the field when it comes to especially these mile-and-a-half tracks.
It definitely, we saw a lot of last year. They were putting on a show 1-2, especially come late year. From what I can remember while racing in some of the stuff, they were miles ahead of everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, there were times where you could go up there and you could contend with them to a point, but I specifically remember Chicagoland last year, and even in the offseason, after the big update to these trucks, it was a matter of pretty much trying to race for second place, maybe third place, depending on how well the other was doing. But I think at Chicago in particular, it was Tyler Justice just leading the way, showing everyone up, and he was pretty much just racing for second place. A bit of a moment ahead of these guys, though. It's John Barron.
I think he finally lost the motor as he pulls down towards pit lane here. That may be a quick end to his night, unfortunately.
Yeah, you saw the puff of smoke, and eventually we saw the slow number 69 on the inside of the track. While these guys are coming to the end of the stage, we're going to quickly get a talk with somebody, and I think that we'll check on who it may be. I think we're going to talk to Jared Beasley real quick before this stage ends. Jared Beasley, do you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Andrew.
Well, Jared, I figured I'd bring you up. As your teammates actually battle for the lead, we'll continue watching this battle, but we saw you with a bit of a restart issue just about 20 laps ago. Now, what happened?
I don't really know, to be honest with you, Andrew. The first initial start, I got on the gas, and it had a little bit of a wheel spin towards the top of the RPM. So I kind of copied that second restart, and I don't know, it was just like the outside line wasn't as good as the inside, and it just went loose. And them cars, whenever you get loose in it, you just can't control it. It's so hard.
Yeah, we saw you just, get loose towards the top side. You tried to pull it back down, and unfortunately that, pretty much cleaned off the front of your car and took, I believe it was the 14 and the 85 with you to a point, but they, I believe, continued on. Actually, it's showing the 85 now parked, but, you had a pretty good night going, and then just that restart issue, what's the plan moving forward to Las Vegas to try and bounce back from this?
Just hoping and praying that we'll have a good race next week, and definitely need to be getting up in points. Wrecked out of last week's A-class cars also. So
Yeah, Las Vegas next week will be a very similar race to this, just a bit smoother, I think, and probably a bit easier on the restarts as well. So we'll wish you the best of luck there, and we'll get to catch up with you actually, starting with the bull ring Sunday night. As long as you're in attendance, we'll be looking forward to it, and best of luck.
All right, thank you.
And again, that was Jared Beasley. He was the pole sitter tonight in the number 15 Extreme Lawn Care JB Paints machine. Unfortunately, just had the issue on the restart. Went for a spin, collected a couple of drivers, and that's what happened to John Barron, unfortunately. A couple of laps ago, actually, Brennan, we saw the 18 go through the grass. I tried to catch back up with him. He ended up in the pits, I think parked it for the night, at least for a little while, maybe to get some tires or damage repaired or something. But the stage is coming to a close here, and it's going to be Tyler Justice by quite a bit, actually, now over his teammate Mike Bruno.
Yeah. And I do have an update for the 85 here for us. Looks like he got the computer gremlins as he throughputed in the server. So 2 WFO drivers tonight with some connection issues, unfortunately. So put them quite a few laps down.
Yeah, and that is really unfortunate to see for those guys after such a great night. Actually, those two, Zach Lindgren won last night at Atlanta and won stage number 2, whereas his team owner Bradley Wilson won stage number 1 and finished 3rd overall. And it's really unfortunate to see those guys turn around and have this dismal night tonight. Not necessarily even a dismal performance, considering Zach driving his way to the lead ahead of guys like Jared Beasley and Tyler Justice, but just a dismal night overall after computer issues for both of those drivers.
It definitely, although if I had to pick between the 2 nights for my computer to go down, I'd definitely rather prefer tonight over, the big championship on Monday night.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And real quick before these guys come into the pits, and then we need to talk with our stage number 1 winner. We'll go through the top 10. Brendan, it's to you for the top 5 at the conclusion of stage number 1.
Alrighty. So, as we mentioned, Tyler Justice is going to come home stage 1 winner, followed by his teammate Mark Bruno. Then we have Spence Thompson in 3rd, followed by Jared Wishon in 4th, and then Cody Spiker is going to hold on to 5th.
And in 6th place, we'll have the Riot Motorsports driver of Terry Mason in the number 75, followed by David Heise in the 711. Kenneth Yance will bring it home in stage number 1 in 8th place, with Craig Lerman in 9th, and Matthew McMeekin hangs on to a 10th place stage number 1 finish, despite some issues on that previous restart. And you see the rest of the running order here as these guys came to this caution. But Tyler Justice into the pit lane, getting some service to his number 7. We'll see if he gets out first. Mike Bruno with the number 2 stall. Mark Broderick trying to get into his stall. And the 7 certainly rolls away first. And it will be the number 7, Tyler Justice, out of the pits before anyone else. But I think Spence Thompson actually just stole 2nd place from Mike Bruno. So good on him. That's going to mix things up on this restart here, though, Brennan. It's going to be interesting to see if Spence can overcome the restart gremlins that Jared Beasley had last time around. But this time, I'll bring up Tyler Justice as the stage number 1 winner here tonight. Tyler Justice, stage number 1 winner. Do you have a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, your stage number 1 winner. It's got to pretty much, I think, start the train that I would expect after last season's performance in the Truck Series and the Grand National Series. I think we'll be saying TJ stage winner a lot, wouldn't you?
I would hope so. That means I'm doing good, right? So, I'm glad to get the stage 1 there and get some points. And me and Mike were just kind of riding right there, saving our stuff. And then once we got with 5 to go to the end of the stage, I started pushing it a little bit, see if I could get around him. Luckily, we did. And was able to capture us some stage points. And maybe we can keep it up front for the rest of the race.
Well, I mean, you certainly, we were talking about the duo there of you and Mike for quite a bit, and it was interesting to me as we brought up your teammate Jared Beasley for a quick talk after his incident on the front stretch. You ended up passing Mike for the lead, so we didn't get the actual pass, but we saw that suddenly there was a new number 7 in P1. What's your plan from here? You've led 19 laps so far, but there's still, 120 some left to go.
Well, the main I say it all the time, but the main thing is just save your tires. I mean, me and Mike sat there and was just running a consistent pace, saving our tires right there, and we started pulling away from the rest of the field. I mean, even if you save for 5 laps, I mean, it could go a long way. So just hopefully we can do that, and maybe we can pull off a win.
Well, sounds good, man. I'll give you a quick chance to shout out any sponsors before we let you get going for this restart.
Yeah, I want to shout out my sponsor, SimSpec, for being on the car every week. John and Ken, they do a great job with all that. And I want to thank Bradley for the league, and I want to thank you guys in the booth.
Sounds good. Well, best of luck as you guys are actually coming to the green flag in just a moment, and we'll catch up with you later on.
All right, I appreciate it.
Again, Tyler Justice, stage number 1 winner. Last year it was kind of the thing to say, MTJ stage winner in the NASCAR Cup Series. I think this year in the BA Graphix Cup Series it'll be TJ stage winner. Brendan, I think it's the start of good things for that number 7 team.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's got a wrap on everything when it comes to NASCAR related in the super late model for sure. He's definitely a really good driver when it comes to, oval racing.
Yeah, and I think his resume is only going to grow from here. Obviously, with the championship last year in the Truck Series on Monday nights that we saw here on PSI TV, to more and more wins I'd expect throughout the season. We saw Super Late Model, or the Super Series win on Sunday night at New Smyrna, and we could be seeing one here tonight from Atlanta, but as these guys come to the restart, pace car is in, Tyler Justice on the loud pedal, they're off and away, Spence Thompson with a big checkup on the top side, not really going at all.
Unfortunately, he's going to leave some guys stuck behind him as they had to wait till the line or to the stripe before they could pass him there.
Yeah, you can't change lanes before the start-finish line, and you saw these guys behind and have to wait. They couldn't go high, they couldn't go low, because, there's cars down there, and they had to sit where they were and not get on the gas too hard, and that's exactly what Jared Wishon and everyone else on the top line did. And now is Cody Spiker trying to slide up in front of the 89, doesn't make it work, but here comes Spence Thompson right back, looking for third place. Just had a big issue on the restart, but he's not letting him he's not letting that get him down, rather, as he's trying to rebound from a dismal Monday night last night, currently now into third place once again. And he's looking for second.
Mike Bruno has assumed the lead, yep.
Tyler Justice falls to second place. Looks like maybe he isn't quite the best on the short run, but obviously you can't argue with his long run speed, considering he just kind of waited behind his teammate of Mike Bruno until the latter stages of stage number 1, went right on by him and won the stage. So I think you can't really argue with what he's doing in that number 7 right now, but it'll be interesting to see exactly what goes on for him. And David Heiza going from the attic to the basement down the back straightaway.
Make a move to the inside of Cody Spiker here. Not going to quite clear him. Come through the quad oval here. He's about halfway cleared. I think he may get him here coming through turn 1.
Yeah, I think Cody Spiker's showing a lot of short run speed in that number 22. Not looking like he has the greatest car on the long run. You saw him fall from 3rd, almost in 2nd actually, to 5th place by the end of stage number 1, and now you see him starting to slide actually already, even on the short run. Looks like maybe that car is taking a swing towards the worst for the number 22, as he has fallen back to the 6th position, and Craig Lerman is close, followed by Terry Mason. But Kenneth Yance back here, we saw him get a top 10 for the stage. Brennan, what are you thinking for that number 72?
We haven't really spent a lot of time with him tonight. He started 18th up to 9th. He's slowly starting to pick him off. I definitely think he may be one that has a spot at maybe contending for the win tonight.
Yeah, I mean, if he keeps that number 72 underfunded motorsports car in good shape, I think he could be one to watch out for in case something happens up ahead of him. It's obviously always within the realm of possibilities. I think Ken Yance has a decent shot. He's running 9th. He's running in the top 10. He's doing what he has to do to just give himself a chance.
Definitely. As we mentioned, I don't think we really see anything of him really passing people, but 18th to 9th, and we're only at lap 51 so far, so yeah, he's definitely moving in the right direction and at a pretty good pace.
Yeah, and he's looking underneath not Spence Thompson, Terry Mason rather, for the 8th position. He's trying to get by that single Pringle machine. And down into turns number 1 and 2. He's working the bottom lane like Kevin Harvick. He's going to slide on by him. Now he's going to work on that good wrench machine. That's going to be Craig Lehrman in the number 43. A bit of a cross between a historic number and a historic paint scheme. It's kind of interesting. Richard Petty's number 43 on a Chevy, which isn't totally weird anymore with Bubba Wallace's addition to the Cup Series, but on the Dale Sr. orange good wrench scheme, and not even Wheaties on that car. It's just a bit interesting to see.
Yeah, I kind of like people that throw their own little spin on stuff, though. I like people that are creative with what they do. We have a car smoking down the backstretch.
Oh, I don't even see where that is. We'll see if we can catch a number, but there's a battle going on just behind Ken Yance, actually, as he got by Terry Mason. Terry Mason fell within the clutches of Corey Walters, and Jared Beasley was the one smoking on the back straightaway. It looks like he went out for a couple of laps and ended up blowing up, but this, I think, is going to start getting exciting. We saw Alan Westman work his way by Corey Walters. Now the number 17 working on 9th place, Terry Mason, as Corey has fallen to 11th. And the number 28 not looking the greatest right now, as he's going to fall almost within the clutches of Christopher Matthews as well. And then there's Clayton Kurtz in, 13th position.
Definitely. A lot of these guys really haven't moved around too much. Christopher Matthews up from 23rd, though, so he's having a pretty good run so far. All these other guys have kind of been mid-pack and just kind of riding around, though, it seems.
Yeah, Christopher Matthews was the big new deal with HRL Motorsports coming into 2018. He was a development driver for MR Motorsports, which is rebranded as Evil Outlaw Motorsports. And, that's, I guess the works of Michael Redding and his crew of guys like Mike Bruno and Tyler Justice. And unfortunately, there just wasn't room when they restructured the team for Christopher Matthews. He had to end up as a free agent through most of the winter break between 2017 and 2018. He ended up picking up a ride in the NMNTS part-time, as he does serve actively within the U.S. Air Force. Got to thank him for that, obviously, as he has just, he serves in the military. What else can you say? I got to thank him for what he does, as well as Joseph Andujar. I think he's watching. He's in the Army. Kenny Yance is past Army, and I feel like there's some more that I'm forgetting, and I apologize if there are. But either way, really cool to see Christopher Matthews out here tonight. He, I believe, tried to get into Daytona, couldn't. I believe he tried to get into the Atlanta race last night in the Truck Series and couldn't. Alan Westman with the bobble right in front of him. No, now Corey Walters goes from the attic to the basement.
Yeah, they had to shuffle up a car up ahead, pulled in front of them all. That was the 72. He was on the apron, and then he pulled up and kind of shuffled Terry Mason and everybody around.
Yeah, it looks like the 72 of Ken Yance starting to head in the wrong direction. Maybe the swing on that car wasn't quite right for the way the track is starting to change as rubber gets put down and heat gets built up in the tires and the track. I will say Tyler Justice now back into the lead, but we're racing for 20 more laps to the end of Stage 2. We're going to the end of lap 80 for the stage break. Now Corey Walters working on the 75 as Alan Westman, I believe, has moved forward, has moved into the 9th position ahead of Christopher Matthews and Terry Mason. And he's going to start working on that 72 here soon if he can keep moving up like he is. Further back, as we're going to keep this focus on guys further back in the field, Clayton Kurtz running alongside of Mark Broderick right now. Those guys, a couple of young guns in the series that have a ton of potential. Unfortunately, didn't really get to show it last night, but they're getting to show it now. They're battling kind of towards the back of this front pack, but they have a good chance, just like anyone up here, in case something wrong goes on ahead of them.
And Corey Walters and Terry Mason going to be side by side ahead of him too. Oh, Terry Mason and Corey Walters, they both go up into the wall.
And a big crash. You saw Clayton Kurtz also get involved. Again, that's Corey Walters and Terry Mason. A ton of damage to both of those cars. And contact afterwards as well. I'm not sure if that was just coincidental or what that was. Well, let it be whatever it may be. We'll let you guys at home draw your own conclusions. We won't feed into that one. But we'll take a replay, of course, and see what went on there.
I think that's the second time in 2 nights we've done that, unfortunately. We call out a driver battling it out, and they wrecked immediately. A little bit of the commentator's curse, maybe.
Yeah, we try and, you know, like you say, bring attention to these guys for just putting on a great battle, and then just immediately they end up having something go wrong, and you have that wreck. I think that's what you were trying to go for. It sounded a bit like we were calling them out for wrecking somebody intentionally, and that was not the point there. Yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that. That's not the intention there at all. But yeah, just a couple of really big impacts. I'm not sure what happened, but I can say, in my past experiences here, these cars can get pretty loose going into turn 1 when you initially turn into the corner, and that may have been what we just saw out of the 75, because you saw he kind of went down the track a little bit, I think, and I think he may have just gotten really, really loose on entry of 1. We'll wait and see what happens here from his onboard. Again, this is Terry Mason into turn number 1 when it happens, and yeah, it seems like he just gets loose more than anything. I don't know why else he would end up going down the track. We'll get one more look at it. Again, the 75, Terry Mason, I think just got loose.
Looks like everybody that was on the lead lap came in and got fuel and tires again.
And more to your point, Brandon, unfortunately, we also see the 90 with a ton of damage to his front end after we were just praising Clayton Kurtz on never giving up a little while ago, and then battling with Mark Broderick, seeing what he could do in that number 90 discount shop towels machine. Unfortunately, he will probably be done for most of the night and out of the running. But under this caution, Christopher Matthews is going to stay out and get a lap led. He is currently your leader.
Yeah, and I guess everybody takes a point when they can get one here.
Actually, I could be wrong. He may have taken 2. No, he did stay out. Okay. I was going to say, we'll wait and see what happens as we come back by the pit lane, but I thought maybe he took 2 or something instead, but no, he did stay out. So Christopher Matthews staying out to get that lap led. He'll come in now, get 4 tires and fuel, and they're not Desert Eagles this time, but 4 Goodyear Eagles, rather, on that number 92 untapped Chevrolet SS, and he'll get back out there and see what he can do the rest of these 162 laps. We're 63, or 62 actually, laps into tonight, so that means we've got 100 to go here, Brennan.
Yeah, you just mentioned 2 tires there. That's actually an interesting strategy. I don't think anyone maybe took that, but maybe to get ahead of a couple of guys and, you know, not too far to push on them, so it may have been a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't ever take 2 tires in the Cup car anymore. I think I learned my lesson, albeit in the Xfinity car last year in the Grand National Series here in the NMNTS. I forget what track it was. I think it may have been Kentucky in the chase. Took 2 tires, trying to just make something happen at the end of the race after running top 5 all night. Went into turn 1 and just immediately spun out. Just wiped out, and ever since then, I don't think I've taken 2 tires more than maybe once or twice at like Daytona and Talladega. It's so unstable with these lower downforce packages on the NASCAR Cup cars and NASCAR Xfinity cars nowadays that it's, I mean, if you can make it work, more power to you, but I'm not sure it's the greatest idea.
Well, anyways, we're going to get shuffled back up here. The pace car lights are out, so we have 1 to go.
And you'll see a couple of, I guess, teams taking over these rows. Evil Outlaw Motorsports going to take over row number 1 with Tyler Justice and Mike Bruno. And while Bradley Wilson is out in the chat saying there's no more WFO drivers out there, there are still WFO affiliates, and I thought the 51 of Jared Wishon was actually a development driver, but he will join Spence Thompson in row number 2 nonetheless. Steven Heise in row number 3 with Cody Spiker, Alan Westman, Kenneth Yance behind them. And rounding out your top 10, we should have the 5 of Jason Alexander in 9th, and the 14 of Matthew McMeekin, a newcomer to this series that we'll actually focus on in just a moment, in 10th place. On this restart, though, Brendan, it's all you for the call. These guys are coming out of turn 4, headed right for us.
Alright, as they come to lap 65 here, a short little run to Lady. Pace car pulls in, and a little hesitation, then Justice right away on it. Mike Bruno a little bit behind on that one. Tyler's going to take a big jump there, going to swing way wide and start to back her down. A little bit further back, the 89 and the 51. We're side by side. The 89 is going to get past him here. Everybody's starting to settle into a single file groove.
And so I mentioned we're going to focus on the 14 of Matthew McMeekin for a second. He's a newcomer to this series. I've never even seen his name before, but I want to call attention to him because I've never seen him here before, but he may have raced at Daytona, and even if he didn't, he's doing a pretty good job so far in that U.S. Navy machine. Just running 10th place, doing what he has to do, and he's got some right side damage, like we mentioned a little while ago, from Jared Beasley's mistake on that restart back in stage number 1, but this 14 trying to just do his best to hang in there currently, again, running in the top 10, doing what he has to do to just come out here and put on a decent performance in his first few runs in the series. Brendan, I think I like what I'm seeing out of him.
Yeah, definitely. He's put himself in a pretty good spot. Top 10 at the moment. Started 10th too, so qualified pretty well, and he's able to hold on to it. So I definitely think he's got some good potential. Yeah,
I like what I see out of him. And it's cool to see another branch of the military represented, because I don't know if he's from the Navy or anything, but we see a lot of Army from Joseph Andujar and Kenny Yance. We see a lot of Army represented, and it's cool to see the Navy a little bit. Go Navy! I'm sorry, Joseph and Kenny, you're going to hate me, but go Navy. And we've seen the Air Force with Christopher Matthews as well, so that was another reason that car kind of caught my eye. A little further back of him, actually, we have a couple of guys that we haven't talked about at all yet. Gordon Larson Jr. in the 00, currently running 11th. He is the defending champion on Tuesday nights as this series is run on. And so, technically, he's the defending champion of this series. He's currently making his way up into almost the top 10 now, just like last season's finale at Homestead, where he ended up getting the win. And it was his first win. He was just a sleeper going through the entirety of the chase. Ended up just pulling the right strategy. Didn't have to, or no, he pitted early enough to make up time on the rest of the chase drivers and ended up actually winning the race. It was just bizarre, and it was really cool to see. So kind of the fan favorite story of the year to close out the NMNTS Racing Series. It was actually the final race of the season run. And Gordon Larson Jr. trying to do kind of the same thing tonight, being a bit of a sleeper, then starting to make his way back up through the field. And just behind him, actually, is Trevor Harmon. We talked a little bit about him last night, I believe, actually, in a bad way. I think he got wrecked early. But he's trying to rebound from that, currently in the 12th spot, Brennan.
Yeah, definitely. And a little bit of information from Bradley out in the chat. Looks like Andrew McMeekin did make a start at Daytona. Nothing on how he finished, but looks like he may be a full season driver, which that'd be cool to see.
Yeah, it's always good to have new additions, and I think Matthew McMeekin will fill that role relatively nice, along with Jared Wishon and some others throughout the field. A little further back, we see the number 77 of Kenny Yance trying to hang in there. Definitely way off pace right now, trying to follow. I think that's Clayton Kurtz ahead of him. No, Clayton Kurtz is very slow down the back straightaway, I think, with even more damage than before. He may have actually just blown up, and I think he's trying to coast back. Because, yeah, 57 miles an hour. He's got some problems with that number 90 discount shop towels Toyota.
Gotta give the 77 a little bit of credit, though. He is cruising around without a hood, so he's making what he's got work.
Yeah, no, definitely. He's doing the best that he can with what he's got right now, and obviously with a couple of issues early on in the race. I forget exactly what gave him all that damage. Oh, it was the incident with Burgess and Redding that gave him all that damage to the front of the car. Just, Michael Redding was completely out of control. It's not like he could do anything about it. Ended up sliding back up the track right in front of the 77 of Kenny Yance. There was nothing he could do, and you see the result of that. A ton of front-end damage. Nothing else even done to the car. He's kept that car completely clean otherwise, and I think that's, improvement for him. We saw him get taken out early last night as well, and have to battle back from that, just do his best to hang in there, and he's doing the same thing tonight. I think, I like what I'm seeing from him, and, every little step is a big step for improvement.
And a little bit up ahead, we have a battle between Mark Broderick and Craig Lerman. Looks like Broderick's finally starting to get the pass through. They did do a couple laps side by side, though.
And now Mark Broderick going to set his sights on the number 27 of Trevor Harmon. Flip Switch Gaming again on the hood. And you can see the Kmart Little Caesars Ford Fusion picking up some ground on that number 27. Then he'll get to go to work, if he can get by Trevor Harmon by the end of the stage, on Gordon Larson Jr. and Matthew McMeekin. Matthew McMeekin to the top side of the track, actually, just ahead of these guys. Mark Broderick forces his way to the bottom side of Trevor Harmon. He's going to make the move. He's going to try and complete this pass out of turn 4. I think he will. Now he's going to try and work on the number 14.
Yeah, the 14 last lap coming towards the backstretch there made a little bit of contact with the outside wall, slowed him down a little bit, but doesn't look like it's going to hurt him too much. Already had a little bit of damage on that right-hand side. He's going to surrender the position to Broderick there, though, and see if he can get back in it.
Back up to the front of this field, Tyler Justice has taken over a commanding 2-second lead. Looks like he's going to bring it home in a couple of laps. For
So we have a car in the infield, grass.
Do we have the number?
It's coming up to now.
David Hyde's
Like,
7-11.
yep.
It's definitely who it was. He's slow. Oh, and Craig
Oh.
Lerman gets into the 27. 27, Trevor Harmon in the fence hard. He'll continue on. Nobody hits him, but definitely heartbreak for him. He's going to have a ton of damage to that car now. That car is definitely tore up, and not as bad as it could be. It's just cosmetic, I think, but a lot of damage to the left side, the right side. That car is definitely hurting from here as far as aerodynamics go. We'll see if he can try and battle back from it. He's got a lot of damage. But where I was going with this, back up at the front, Mike Bruno has settled in a second, but here comes Spence Thompson trying to get by him for some more stage points before the end of stage number 2. In this, the second race of the season for the 2018 rendition of the BA Graphix Cup Series, and the first time that the NMNTS has run the Cup Series cars. Last year was the NASCAR Xfinity cars, otherwise known as the B cars on the sim, at least in the oval community. And now we have what are known as the A cars in the oval community, running around Atlanta Motor Speedway for race number 2, again, of the 2018 season of the BA Graphix Cup Series. You got to thank BA Graphix and the NMNTS and everybody else that puts this together. Currently, Mike Bruno is actually going to drive back away from Spence Thompson a little bit, trying to secure his spot in second. And if he does so, I think he will come home second to Tyler Justice in the second stage in a row.
I saw the 77 pull in. Looks like he was off the pace. Maybe lost his motor there.
I don't want to lose track of this battle, though. Spence Thompson trying to work back around the top side. We see him trying to use the top side to his advantage. It's not going to work. Mike Bruno actually powers back away from him, but it was cool to see Spence try. I mean, you got to give him credit there. Spence really gave it a shot into turn number 3. Couldn't get it done. Spence Thompson finishes third in the stage. Mike Bruno brings it home in second, with Tyler Justice going to be your stage number 2 winner. He won stage number 1, so this time we're going to get to talk to Mike Bruno, his teammate, as we've talked to Tyler twice already. We're going to mix it up a little bit. But we'll let these guys get their pit stops in first. I think you mentioned it. Kenny Yachts came through the pits, so we'll go back and try and find what happened to him. I see he's under power here, and I think you're right. I think he's going to lose the motor. Yep, right there out of turn 2. You see the puff of smoke, and he's slow after that. Obviously can't get any power down, so he's going to have to coast back to the pits. But he got it in. He will be just fine, aside from being out of the race, and that's never fine, actually. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to say here, but I will say, though, Alan Westman, kind of a surprise to me, worked his way from borderline top 10 all the way into 4th place, so good on the 17 of Alan Westman. Bass Pro Shops on the hood tonight. Cody Spiker will follow him up in the second of 2 Bass Pro Shops cars in the field. He will come home 5th in stage number 2, Brennan.
Yeah, another big mover, as we mentioned, last year's champion, Gordon Larson. I hadn't checked it yet, but a 26 to 10th, securing the last spot in the top 10 for some stage points here. He's starting to move his way back up the field as well.
Yeah, and I also noticed Mark Broderick worked his way through the field quite a bit, in addition to Gordon Larson Jr. So a couple of big movers at the end of stage number 2 there with their opportunities to work their way up. Now we'll see these guys race out of the pit lane. Tyler Justice going to be the first one to get going. Mike Bruno will follow him out. Now Alan Westman will steal a position, this time from Spence Thompson, who made it out ahead of Mike Bruno on the previous stage break. So now Tyler Justice will remain your leader heading into the final stage tonight. 80 laps to go from here. Mike Bruno going to follow him up. We're going to get to talk to him in just a moment. Mike Bruno, this is Andrew Cardinale in the PSI TV booth. Do you have a copy?
10-4, Andrew. I got you, bud.
Well, Mike, we were going to talk to the stage number 2 winner, but that was Tyler Justice, and I'm not sure if you know this already, but we talked to him twice already, so we'll get to talk to number 2 in stage number 2. You came home second to your teammate, and it looks like you have a shot to win. Do you think you can best him here in the final stage?
I'm going to give it a shot, Andrew. Definitely going to come down to saving tires here and see who has a better fuel strategy. Hoping to do it cleanly here and stay where I'm at. And I think the only shot I got is if Tyler makes a mistake. He's just too fast tonight, as usual. But I think that's my only shot, is to kind of hope that he makes a mistake. Not that I want him to, but he's just he's got this place dialed in.
Yeah, but I mean, I'd say you also have it pretty dialed in, at least on the short run. He can't really contend with you for a few laps there right at the start of a run, so are you hoping here for maybe a late caution to just put that number 19 possibly in P1?
Yeah, for sure. If it comes down to that, I'm going to give it all she's got and see if we can get in front of him. I think if I can stay in front of him, I might be able to keep him behind me, but he's always good on the short run, so we'll just see what we got and go from there.
Sounds good. Mike, well, before we let you go, Brendan, do you have anything for him?
Oh, well, I just have to ask, maybe, I know I'd asked your other teammates here, and now that we're actually at the moment here, you have any strategy for the stop? It looks like you probably, we're more than likely will have to make a stop. I don't know why I said probably. I think you will. So any strategies when you want to come in on that? Or?
Not really so much. To be honest with you, I haven't really paid attention what a fuel run is here. I might just split it up in half, and go from there. But just gonna kind of take it as it comes, and see if we have any cautions and kind of play it by ear.
Alrighty, well, we see the pace car lights are out, so I think we'll go ahead and get you moved back down and let you get settled in.
10-4. Thanks, guys.
Again, that was Mike Bruno, the second place finisher here in stage number 2 of the second installment of the BA Graphix Cup Series here in 2018. This time from Atlanta Motor Speedway. If you're just tuning in, thanks for doing so. We are on lap 85, as you can see in the top left, of 162, which means we have just under 80 laps to go. And it's been a pretty quick race, actually. I like how this race is going. Just a few cautions here and there. We've had, I believe, we'll kick up the race summary before these guys get back going. We've had 4 cautions. Only 2 of those were for incidents that were not the stages. And as these guys come back to the restart to get going for the third and final stage of the night, it's Tyler Justice in control once more, kind of like the normal Tyler Justice we're used to seeing. And back on the loud pedal, the number 7 gets this race restarted. A bit of a bobble from Mike Bruno as he's going to fall back to third place across the line. Here comes Alan Westman.
Right down to the inside here, carrying enough speed. It looks like he'll have him, through the middle of the corner and on exit.
Mark Broderick with a huge slide out of turn 2. He's going to hang on to it, but I tell you what, Kenneth Johnson's probably praying right there that nothing went wrong. And Jason Alexander and everybody behind him as well, because that was sideways, even for Mark Broderick, an avid dirt racer. I'm surprised he hung on to that, but also glad, because that just shows you he's another one of those guys, just like Clayton Kurtz, that'll drive it any way you give it to him, be it sideways, be it upside down. I think he'd try and drive it.
Yeah, that slide was fairly close to what Clayton had earlier, the one I was talking about. So both the dirt ringers able to hold on to it there.
he's now going to start working on Cody Spiker as he worked his way through the field into the top 10 in stage number 2. Now he's looking to do the same thing, possibly into the top 5, maybe the top 3 before this night is over. Hopefully we get to talk to him because this has been a heck of a run out of him in the number 32 tonight. He is just on rails right now and just moving his way through the field. But back up to the front, actually, Alan Westman has secured that second spot by a few car lengths now over Mike Bruno. So this is kind of interesting to see. A bit of a dynamic shift. Finally got it. A bit of a shift in dynamics here for this race now as Alan Westman gets on by Mike Bruno. And apologies for my bit of a stutter there. I don't know. Couldn't get those words out. I don't know why.
Cody Spiker a little bit back, getting right up on Spence Thompson there. Actually had to fall back a little bit there into the reach of Mark Broderick.
Yeah, Cody Spiker now heading back in the wrong direction. We saw him with some struggles in stage number 2 in the early goings. We saw him start to work his way back after working his way forward. And we could be seeing more of the same for that number 22. Looks like he's pretty good on the short run, just like Mike Bruno, but starts to fall off pretty quick. And, that's sometimes just how it goes for these guys here at Atlanta. It's conducive to that. It's conducive to many different driving styles, seeing different bouts of glory, if you will, where they can get up to the front at one point of the race, then fall way back, and another driving style works its way forward, and I think you get the picture from there. So I think we're seeing that now with Mark Broderick working his way forward as we've rubbered this truck. We've rubbered the truck in. God, that needs to be a meme. But no, we've rubbered the track in now, and Mark Broderick on his merry way trying to work on Spence Thompson now.
Definitely Jason Alexander a little bit back. Looks like he's got something maybe for Ken Yance. He's been right behind him. I've been watching them recently here.
Yeah, Jason. Oh, a caution
maybe
further back. I'm looking at the speeds. I think that
Jason
was
Burgess and
McMeekin. A bunch more right side damage to that number 14. Big time issues for the brand new driver.
Oh yeah, he got a little bit of the nose.
Oh no, that was netcode. That was netcode. That was definitely netcode there out of turn 4. I'm pretty sure I know what you were talking about with the 92 of Chris Matthews. You'll see it again out of turn 4 here. You'll see it more developed. You see no contact whatsoever. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're a newer viewer to PSI TV, that's something we call netcode on iRacing because it's just something that we can't really explain. I guess the best explanation for it is my age-old explanation, where it's an impurity, if you will, in the connection, where like you would have impurities in, I don't know, water or something. But essentially, you have all these drivers connecting to the server, and when the server that puts up the race and holds the connection for the race that these drivers connect to, sometimes the server tracks one car in one place and the actual picture on a driver's screen is different, or multiple driver screens in this case is different, and so sometimes the server is registering a car making contact with another car even though that's not what is seen. And that's exactly what just happened right there. The sim registered the number 92 of Chris Matthews getting into the left rear of Matthew McMeekin. But we saw it right there. Visually, there was no contact. You just see the 14 all of a sudden go around, and that's not an issue with his handling. That is netcode. That's just something with sim racing. And oh man, it's a good thing they were still able to go through each other in the pits. That's a good feature iRacing has, thankfully, because Mike Bruno was trying to get on the binders out of the pits there and almost took out his teammate, Tyler Justice.
Yeah, unfortunately, that caution just came a little bit too early. They needed about another about 15 laps or so to be able to make it the final stop there. So I do believe we'll get another one here. Although, if you might as well come in and get everything now, if everybody else is going to come in, get full
definitely.
service.
You want to come in and get these 4 tires because anything can happen from here. And You see Trevor Harmon just staying out to get the lead or the bonus point for leading a lap, but you want to come in and get tires here, because if you don't, you're going to fall back to the rear of this field. Just straight up, you're going to be slower. With putting really even 2 or 3 laps on these tires, you're going to lose a large amount of speed. So unless you have 5 or maybe even 10 guys with you staying out, it's not going to be worth it. So that's why I saw Trevor Harmon only stay out for a lap. He came right back in.
Like Scott Andres out in the chat wants to maybe get an onboard with the 51 here, Jared Washawn. I think he's a pretty big fan of his. I've seen that a lot in the chat that he is rooting him on.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's probably a fan of a friend. I meant to say friend, but definitely a fan, obviously, of Jared Washawn. But I think he probably knows him from somewhere outside of these broadcasts as well. And we will definitely we'll use this as an opportunity to do what we normally do. We'll go on board with the driver for a restart, and this time it'll be Jared Washawn. You can see some right side damage to that number 51, but he'll continue on, and that car actually looks pretty good. I like what I see in that paint scheme. It's simple, but it's effective. Yeah, especially Scott saying Washawn's my boy. Sorry, I noticed that in the chat as I looked over. I think he's pretty enthusiastic, Brennan. Good call.
Yeah. I say, back to the paint scheme though, it's a little more neutral colors. A lot of times now, what you see is a lot of like flashy, poppy colors and that. So it's a little bit of homage almost to the older days of paint schemes, and I really like it too.
Yeah, it's easy on the eyes. It's not super bright or anything. Like, not that the 43 looks bad necessarily, but it's certainly bright. It's there. The 818 actually to the inside of the 51 as well. Just bright green and yellow. It's there. You're not going to miss it. But I like that simpler look to the 51. I think it's really a good fit over with the other cars at WFM Motorsports. Granted, Spence Thompson's is pretty bright and orange as well, but I had fun making that one. I will say that much. But these guys are getting ready to go for the restart. 65 laps, I think, when these guys get it back going. Maybe 66 when we get the drop of the green. And again, we'll be going on board to give Scott Andreas a look on board with his favorite guy. It's going to be Jared Washawn restarting in the 14th position rather on the outside.
Pace car's in, and we're underway.
Oh, and a big bobble out Jason Alexander. I think the field get by relatively okay, but you saw the whole checkup there as the 5 got loose on the inside. He gets it going. We'll check on him in just a moment. I want to get at least a lap in on board on the 51 car to kind of show you the processes of getting going. Unfortunately, it got messed up a little bit. These guys aren't in such a gaggle like they normally would be on a restart, but you can see up ahead, these guys they're close, and there's really no room for error on these restarts as they get going. And that was a pretty good look, actually, at missing an event that could have been catastrophic to the whole field by Jared Washawn.
Pretty tight pack. Mike Bruno, Alan Westman, Spence Thompson, and Cody Spiker up ahead. They're all battling it out for what will be 2nd through 4th, or 5th, excuse me.
Yeah, 4 cars under a blanket, and actually now Alan Westman going to try and set sail, so it may be just 3 under a blanket. Mike Bruno now gets clear of the gaggle as well. We'll see if Spence Thompson and or Cody Spiker can get back up to him, but Cody Spiker now working the top side, and we've seen him. He has short run speed, but then it starts to fall off in that number 22 Bass Pro Shops Chevrolet. So, Brendan, what do you think he could possibly do to try and fix that balance on that race car?
I don't know if he's just getting out there and he's pushing as hard as he can to start, and then he just gets some tire fall off there. So maybe just when we come in to get the next stop, just work your way into it. Just let everything come up the temp, and then just find a pace that you can drive around with, and roll with that. As Mark Broderick here is gonna try and make a move to the inside here.
Yeah, Mark Broderick looking for daylight underneath both Cody Spiker and Spence Thompson. He's now into the top 5 pretty solidly, has a ton of speed in that number 32. Now looking for 4th. Here he comes on the bottom side, Brennan.
Gonna work his way past Spence Thompson here as well. Cody Spiker's gonna get right up behind him though, coming to the corner. Backs out a little early.
Spence Thompson now falling back a little bit on this short run. Cody Spiker as well. Mike Bruno actually is about to fall into the clutches of Mark Broderick if he isn't careful. I think that 32 is pretty well set up. If he can ever get clear of Spence Thompson, I think he could be one to watch for the winner of this race, possibly. Obviously, we haven't seen what he can do once he gets clear of, 4th and 5th, but I think if he can work by Spence and then Bruno, I think he has a shot at least Alan Westman.
And here comes Ken Yance too, about to mix his way into this as well. He's moved his way up.
Yeah, Ken Yance currently sitting right behind Cody Spiker in 11th. He's got that underfunded machine looking like it's big time funded because he's worked his way into the top 10, like we said, pretty quietly earlier on. Got the top 10 in stage number 1, kind of rode around for a little bit. I think he got a top 10 in stage number 2 as well, and now he's working possibly on 6th place here soon if he can keep those tires intact. We saw him fall back in stage number 2 a little while ago. Looked like maybe he ran the tires off a little too much and started to head to the caboose, but he hung on pretty decently.
That's pretty much the real front battle. The next one back would be David Heise. He's got a little bit of a gap, about almost a second back.
Yeah, actually, Jared Rashawn has kind of not really made any improvement from the restart. He's still right behind Christopher Matthews. As you see, big bobble out of the 5 of Jason Alexander out of turn 2. But Jared Rashawn working on the 92 of Christopher Matthews. Hasn't made much ground just yet. Currently running in 10th position. The NNT Toyota looking a little bit worse for wear. You can see a bunch of right side damage, but he's hanging on pretty well. It's really not that bad. I shouldn't say a bunch of damage, but he's definitely gotten into the wall at some point, and he's just trying to make it work. Definitely not where he was earlier on in this event, but that could also just be a matter of the track changing and not being able to adjust his driving style to fit it.
And as we mentioned, he's not really a seasoned veteran here yet. He's still, learning some stuff, so it's a great learning experience though, as the track starts to change in and he can try and sort of feel where he needs to adjust.
Definitely, and as we look at the field go by here, I think this is some pretty good camera angles for showing the action off. Tyler Justice right now leading Alan Westman and the rest of the field by. Ken Yance trying to go to work on Cody Spiker, and then you see these guys kind of just spreading out from there and from then on. I think really the best battle on the track right now is Christopher Matthews and Jared Rashawn, as Ken Yance hasn't been able to make a move on Cody Spiker just yet, and everything behind them looks pretty single-filed to me.
John's going to try it on the outside. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, he is working the top side pretty good. We saw him go to the top side a couple of laps ago of the 92, and that time he works on by him through turns number 1 and 2. And top side is pretty decent if you know what you're doing. If you can manage that momentum out of the corner, it gives you a really good launch down the straightaway. So it's a pretty good idea to go up to that top side if you're struggling for speed, to look around for some grip, and I think that's what Jared Rashawn is doing.
Sort of flipping through the field here, see if we have anything else going on. Not really too much, though, as we mentioned.
Well, look back to the 27 of Trevor Harmon, and you see the damage that was done in that incident with Craig Lerman, but he's hanging on pretty decently. Obviously, it's probably slowing his car down a little bit. He had contact to the left rear tire that could have knocked the toe out a little bit in that area of the car, and obviously plenty of air damage. The right side is probably pretty compromised as well. So he's just trying to battle back right now, and it's going to be tough considering all the damage that was done to that Chevrolet, but he's doing a decent job of just hanging on right now, currently running in 13th, and really not out of the talks at all for a top 10.
Oh yeah, definitely. Something occurs up ahead. He's got himself in a pretty good spot. He's decent way back from the field. He can avoid whatever comes his way, and that's an easy way to grab a couple positions.
further back, we've got Matthew McMeekin trying to hang on as well. He's fallen all the way to 16th position, unfortunately. Just a multitude of things going the opposite way of what he needs, and he's just fallen back. But he put on a really good show at one point in the race, and I think that's really good to see out of a total rookie, at least to the series. I'm not sure of his experience elsewhere, but it's cool to see somebody new to the series just trying to work his way through the ranks. For the back, Jason Burgess, after his incident earlier on, really early in the race actually, with Michael Redding, he hasn't really fought back entirely. He's still a lap down and currently in 17th. Looks like he's still a bit off the pace.
Yeah, Tyler Justice up ahead, starting to work himself to a whole second lead here. Coming to the line for the scoring again. Yeah, he does have a complete second here. Bruno not really having anything right now for Alan Westman. Then Mark Broderick kind of just there as well. No real change made up here.
Yeah, right now Tyler Justice just able to flex his muscle and pull away, but I will say the pit window just opened up. 50 laps to go. You'll see that switch over on the ticker on the top left. 50 laps to go as we get to lap 113 of 162 here tonight. And we could be looking at the first mile-and-a-half win for Tyler Justice in the 2018 BA Graphix Cup Series. I actually forget who won the Cup race. Bradley, if you're still watching, I could use some help there because I was just all kinds of messed up. Didn't get to catch what happened in the Cup race last week at Daytona. But Tyler Justice, I think, is looking to add his name to the list of winners so far in 2018 in the series.
And a little bit back now, Alan Westman and Mark Broderick have caught up to Bruno. Broderick's going to pass Alan Westman here.
Yeah, I mentioned I thought if Broderick could get by Spence Thompson and go to work on the 17, he'd have something for him. And now you see him working on the 19 as well. Actually, he got a little too far down the track, got on the apron, got loose. The left sides do not belong down. Oh, now he's loose down the straightaway as well. And not really the pass in the grass, but the loss of position in the grass, I guess. Where I guess Spence Thompson actually made more of a pass on somebody who was in the grass. I think that would be a good way to say it. But Mark Broderick hangs on amazingly to that car, and these cars get real evil once you get them sideways because they don't want to hang on. If you get them sideways, they want to spin out, much like the Cadillac CTS-V here on iRacing. If you get it sideways, it just wants to go around.
Looks like Terry Mason was given an EOL. I don't know how long ago that was. That may have been around the caution time. Just noticed that he's got a lot of damage now.
Yeah, he must have asked for that because that certainly wouldn't have an effect under green. There's not much of a line to penalize him to. But, yeah, we'll actually switch to him because that's a good thing to bring up. After that incident with Corey Walters, he's got a ton of damage. He doesn't even have a front clip on that car. And I'll tell you what, somebody mangled that Pringles can and just had no mercy because he got crunched like a tater chip. And it really sucks to see Terry Mason have these big issues so early on that really aren't even his fault. Just a mistake here and there by who knows who, ends up costing him. Whether he's the one who spins and collects someone else or somebody collects him and he just has nowhere to go. Just nothing has gone right so far in 2018. Even at New Smyrna, nothing went right. So just a lot of issues so far for that number 75 driver.
And it looks like we actually missed the pass by Ken Yance on the 22, Cody Spiker, although Cody Spiker's now going to pass Ken Yance back again here.
And now here comes Christopher Matthews. He's working on Ken Yance. He wants that position. He's going to move into 7th place. Christopher Matthews now working his way towards the top 5. Looks like he's got a pretty decent Chevrolet SS.
I wonder if Ken's really starting to have some tire issues here that might be worth it for him to try and pull into the pits here and get some fresh ones.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea, and actually that's exactly how Gordon Larson Jr. won the championship and the race at Homestead last November, and it would actually be a pretty good idea, I think, at this point, for Christopher Matthews to do the same thing. Come in, get tires now, and have the fresh tires when the leaders don't. You're going to make up time. It may not be a whole lot just yet, but it's going to add up.
Yeah, I think a lot of the guys a little bit more up front are going to play it by ear. Whenever Tyler goes in, they'll go in. But if you're a little bit back, like we mentioned with like Ken's spot, it would not be a bad idea to try and work up some time that way.
Not at all, and I want to bring attention to a battle further back. Jared Wishon, Craig Lerman, and now David Heise trying to get into the mix. This one could be pretty entertaining.
Sean running really high up there.
Yeah, Wishon definitely trying to run high, wide, and handsome without getting into the marbles. We saw him from the start going up top and trying to work it in. And right there, actually, Craig Lerman tried to get up to him, didn't have the room, had to back off. And this could be a pretty entertaining battle as the laps wind down here, Brennan, because these guys are battling to get into the top 10. Jared Wishon, Craig Lerman are in. David Heise, though, is not.
This it's getting a little dicey there. Lerman's really pushing up on corner exit, almost catching him.
And you know what? I think if I was David Heise on back, definitely, from 11th on back, I would just dip in one of these laps unannounced and just come in, get tires, and start making up time because, you know, there will be a point in time where you might be a little bit slower than somebody behind you, but everybody's got to come in the next 20 laps, I believe. So you may as well just come in and get it over with because you can start making up some time, and if you get a caution at the right time, you could end up being in a position to win this race, i.e. Gordon Larson Jr. a year ago. Oh, and man, contact from the 43 to the 51, but they keep it straight. Craig Lerman leaning on the left side of Jared Wishon, and that was a pretty just exciting turns 1 and 2.
Up ahead looks like the pass on Cody Spiker by Christopher Matthews. There, yeah, he's going to get it completed there. Christopher Matthews going to try and push up ahead and catch up to Alan Westman, maybe.
Well, he's got a ways to go. He's got to make up about 2.2 seconds to get to the number 17 and into the top 5. And actually, that'd be a pretty good point for Christopher Matthews to now come in and pit. He just got by somebody. Now, let them back by, come in, get your tires, and go out, and you're already going to be ahead of them at least when everything cycles back through. And you could start working now into the rest of the top 5, maybe the top 3, by the time it all cycles back to where it should be.
Yeah. The only thing that I can really think of here that would really be a big binder for you is you come in, you pit, and I do believe you will go a lap down here, and then the caution comes out right away, and then you're stuck down a lap, so then you have to stay out.
Well, but I mean, it's so early in the season that why wouldn't you come in and give yourself a chance? Give yourself any sort of a chance to make up some time. And yeah, Cody Spiker coming into the pits. I like that move a ton. Come in a little bit early, get these tires on now, run some faster laps. And yeah, there's obviously the risk of going a lap down when we could get a caution. But I think it's worth it if it's somebody that might not get the greatest finish anyways. Come in, see what you can do, try and make up some time because it's so early in the season that you can afford 1 or 2 bad races here and there trying to make something happen because if it works out, it's going to set the tone for your season.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like he's going to be the lone wolf for now. Nobody else is going to bite on that.
And while we were looking through the field, Mark Broderick has worked his way into second place by about a second and a third over Mike Bruno, his teammate. Spence Thompson in 4th. Tyler Justice, though, with almost 3 seconds on Mark Broderick. It'd be a good idea for one of these guys to try and undercut or short pit on the number 7 of Tyler Justice here very, very soon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just the only thing you have to worry about, as I mentioned, which I mean at this point in time, I think it's worth the risk. Is just getting caught up as soon as you come in, something coming out, or if you come in a little too early, and then the tires just aren't there right at the end. But I think at this point in time, it's not going to be really like pushing too much at the end, so I think they're safe here.
Yeah, I really don't think even Mark Broderick would have to face going too far behind, because even if we got a caution while he was a lap down, if he was to pit now, say we get a caution in 10 laps, he could take the wave around and still have decent tires and be able to just work his way back into a decent position. Even if we were to just get a caution after that, cautions breed cautions, and at a place like this, it's not totally unheard of to get one caution, then a few more to finish off the race.
Definitely. So a lot of options out there for the drivers, obviously. It looks like we do have some more people down pit road. I actually didn't catch that. A lot of people, actually.
Yeah, Alan Westman, Matthew McMeekin. You see Matthew actually have an issue getting into his stall. Looks like service will begin on the 14, though, but Alan Westman made his way through. Let's see, possibly as well Trevor Harmon. No, David Heiza is the other car in the pits currently. Gordon Larson Jr. in the pits, Craig Lerman, Christopher Matthews, Derek Robinson. So I think that was a move by all of HRL because that would be all of those drivers. David Heiza, Alan Westman, Derek Robinson, and more all coming in at the same time, getting that stop out of the way. So good deal by them. I think that's a great strategy to employ. Mike Bruno also through the pit lane.
Yeah, it's great time too, because I went up and I'm watching Tyler run his laps here, and he's getting really loose coming off of the corner exit there. So
I think he's getting ready to come in. No, actually, sorry. It looked like he was getting low and slowing down enough to come in, but he's going to keep running laps.
Yeah, you see on corner exit, it keeps bobbling like he's getting loose there, so he's definitely not running top speed he can be.
Jared Rashawn now through the pit lane. He's going to get service to his number 51 car. Trevor Harmon has made his pit stop. Again, Mike Bruno as well. And you see the difference there. Trevor Harmon was many, many seconds behind Mike Bruno, and now he's made that pit stop, I do believe, and is ahead of Mike Bruno, and now working right by. You see the speed difference right there as they go straight by Kenny Yoss like he's standing still because he's still on old tires. So you saw Trevor Harmon. He had the chance to at least get up there and battle with Mike for a second. Actually, now as he hits the wall, he is definitely... He might have actually lost so much time. He might be a lap down. I could be totally wrong by what's going on here, but we see him at least trying to hang on with these guys, doing his best, and I like that. David Heiza further... Go ahead.
Matthew McMeekin got his lap back. Tyler Justice is finally going to come in now.
So Tyler Justice will finally hit the pit lane. Jason Alexander should actually no, I think, Mark Broderick and Spence Thompson also came in. We missed them. So that means Cody Spiker now is going to work his way through the field a little bit. By short pitting, he's going to pass those guys, and he's ahead of everybody but Jason Alexander and Tyler Justice right now.
It's just a race to who can get out quicker, or if they can get out in time, which I don't think they can.
Well, we're going to stay on the number 7 and see where he comes out back into the field. Jason Alexander, I think, is making his pit stop very, very soon as well.
22 at the line. Yep.
And here comes the 7 out of the pit lane. He goes right by the number 7. So what a great move by Cody Spiker. If we get a caution here soon, he would have pretty much the lead in hand, and he's got a good enough car on the short run that if we get one when he's still in, first or even second and third, he could have a shot at the win.
The 43, Craig Lerman's going to make a pass on Cody Spiker. That's not for position there, though. That's just to get his lap back.
And now all eyes turn towards Jason Alexander. If a caution was to come out now, could you imagine the effect that it would have on this race? So many cars would go a lap down that even if he doesn't have a good car underneath him, he would still get a top 10, I believe, because from 11th on back is still a lap down.
Yes, he's put himself in a great spot to get a caution now. If not, I think he's just waited a little bit too long on those tires.
Definitely, but he's certainly giving himself a chance. And I think Dale Jr. did a lot of this in his final season in competition in the NASCAR Cup Series. He just put himself in a position to possibly get a chance if something went right. And now he's going to bring it into the pits. But I think that's, I was advocating so much for short pitting, but that's also a good way to go about it. Wait longer, see if you can get a caution when these guys are pitting and somehow cycle to the front. Mike Bruno has worked his way by Cody Spiker, but still a great move by Spiker. Yep. Still a great move just to get some positions here for a bit.
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree with that one. Bruno will be our leader now. Jason Alexander just pulled in.
And further back, it's going to be Tyler Justice in third, but you can see the difference there. And while Cody Spiker is slower, if we got a caution now, they would all probably come in, get tires, and run to the finish. And it would be pretty much a field day for Cody Spiker on the short run, at least for the first 10 or so laps.
Yes, it's a great opportunity right now, and probably gets better and better for him as the laps tick down if we can get a caution. Actually, oh, never mind. So, thought I saw a loose car, but it was just someone re-entering the track.
On the other hand, though, on the other hand of this this strategy call, Spence Thompson has actually fallen back to 6th position, so staying out a bit longer. Cody Spiker passed him, put him back into 6th out of the top 5, but I think it's within the realm of possibility that if this goes green, Spence could work his way right back by the 22 of Cody Spiker. I don't think he necessarily has anything to worry about if this goes green. He could still easily pick up a top 5 and rebound from last night and just put on a nice showing.
Yeah, the 7's going to go ahead and pass him here, and not even a contest there. He's way ahead of him already.
But it's all about these guys who might not have a chance at winning, giving themselves a chance, giving themselves an opportunity that if something else goes right, they could walk away with, if not a win, then at least a top 3 possibly, or a top 5. You know, just opening the window to opportunities. You have to try it, and it's so early in the season that one good thing here could set the tone for the rest of your season. Daytona seems like such an insignificant track sometimes, but it really sets the tone for your season. So Daytona, Atlanta, Las Vegas, key to finding a dynamic for your season. But Tyler Justice, I think, is trying to find that dynamic for himself. He has worked his way right back up to Mike Bruno, and just over 20 laps to go. Oh, actually contact with Craig Lerman. Contact. He's going to get into the wall hard. Tyler Justice wrecked. Oh.
No caution
and no caution yet, yeah.
Yep.
And that's just incredible damage to Tyler Justice's car. Goes from working his way possibly back into the lead.
Oh, another car on the wall up ahead.
Do you have the number?
I think it's Jason Burgess, maybe? Yes, it was Jason Burgess, yep.
Well, we'll stay on the number 7 for now. He's going to keep running, and he's got a ton of damage to that car. From dream to despair for the number 7.
Okay, so that puts Cody Spiker now in 2nd place. See if he can hold on to it. Here comes Broderick, though.
He'll make the pass relatively easily. He now moves into the 2nd position. Mark Broderick put him to P2 and now working on P number 1. If he can make up, I believe it's a couple of seconds. Actually, no, he won't make up a couple of seconds. I'm sorry. It'd be really tough. I guess it's somewhat doable. It is Mark Broderick we're talking about here. If anyone's going to make up that kind of time, it would be him or the closer, David Levine. So we'll see if he can. It's going to be tough, but he is quite honestly on rails right now.
Yeah. And Bruno has been battling recently with Jason Alexander just for getting his lap back there, but they were battling it out. Even back when Tyler Justice and Craig Lerman were there, so an opportunity to maybe slow Bruno down a little bit, which will work in those two's favor.
And now that things have calmed down a bit, and Tyler Justice has worked his way back into a steady rhythm for now, I want to go back and get a replay on what happened there with he and Craig Lerman to give us this drama going into the latter stages of this race. You see, he worked his way all the way back up to Mike Bruno, and then you'll see something's going to go wrong here for him and Craig Lerman. I don't really know what's going to happen here. You just see they kind of make contact and end up at each other into the turn 1 wall. And that was really brutal for Tyler Justice too. It's remarkable there wasn't a caution, but iRacing, the algorithm didn't feel there was a caution necessary. They left it green, and again, iRacing's algorithm kept it clean and green here.
Yeah, we've been seeing that a lot recently. The last, including this race, would be the 3rd one. Now that it's kind of been borderline, I'd say. Where I think sometimes they'd throw it, sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes even for more minor stuff than that, sometimes it gets thrown. So, interesting turn of events.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see because I really feel like a year ago iRacing would have thrown a caution there. They may have backed the parameters up a little bit. iRacing, that is, may have backed the parameters up a little bit for what causes a caution, and actually more issues for Tyler Justice. You see him with more damage now. it looked like he pushed up into the fence and just ended up spinning, almost took out his stepfather, Gordon Larson Jr. Hard damage to the number 7. I think is going to bring it in this time. And no, he's going to keep racing. No front end on that car. But back to the point of the cautions, Bradley Wilson made a good point, I believe, on Facebook, of just saying, it's iRacing. It's not the admins or anybody else. It's iRacing. The algorithm. It's literally just ones and zeros deciding not to throw the caution, and they can't do anything about it. The deal with the NMNTS has been, and it's one of the rules, has been for, I believe, 2 seasons now, including this season, that iRacing throws all the cautions. I think maybe even 2.5 years. So it's ones and zeros that decide these cautions, and I think iRacing may have backed the parameters up a little bit, but back up to the front, I noticed it while we were watching. Mark Broderick ran Mike Bruno down, and if Mark Broderick wins this race, all I can say is wow.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely had a car tonight that's actually, I think he just made the pass there as well.
Oh yeah, no, he's on by and he's just setting sail. I'm very surprised by this performance from Mark Broderick all of a sudden, because we saw him very, very quiet in the first couple of stages, and while he will possibly, I say possibly very loosely right now because anything can happen, we've seen a lot happen so far tonight, and really this weekend in general. I mean, anything can still happen, but he's powering away likely to a win. I mean, he's already gapped Mike Bruno by almost a second.
Yeah, I am noticing here he's, as was Tyler a little bit earlier, getting a little loose on exit, so he may cook the tires over just a little bit. I think he needs to just get a decent gap and try and just let him cool back down and then go back at it.
And at the very least, Mike Bruno just comes out here, runs second place a lot, and says he's the next best. That's totally fine this early in the season, because as I was talking about with creating a chance for those guys further back, you can afford one race now where, I mean, second place, there's nothing wrong with second place, especially through stages 1 and 2, but maybe you just have a bit of an off night, you don't perform like you wanted to, you can afford that this early in the season. It's when you get down to crunch time in the summer that you can't.
Definitely. A little bit further back here, we got Cody Spiker and Alan Westman going to go at battle here. Alan Westman actually big time loose as soon as I mentioned him. Into the grass a little bit.
A great
loose
save,
again.
though. He's still hanging on to the car. I don't know how, honestly. That was a heck of a save, though, by Alan Westman to just really just work the wheel and hang on to that number 17. He's now going to try and go back at the number 22 of Cody Spiker. Again, one of the brand new drivers to this series. He's not in any other series in the NMNTS, just the Tuesday night BA Graphix Cup Series. Again, got to thank BA Graphix for what they do. Got to thank SimSpec, as usual, for being a big-time partner of the series, as well as Discount Shop Towels, iWraps, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be too long here before he's got him. Cody Spiker, unfortunately, just the late run speed's just not there for him. He could really use another caution here to have a shot at maybe getting a winner top 3 here, as he's going to fall now to 5th.
But, oh, actually a wreck up ahead. It's Matthew McMeekin. We could have a caution.
He's going to pull it in right outside of the pit lane. No caution.
So, yeah, we shouldn't get a caution for that, actually, if he's down in the pit lane. Actually, he's stuck on the pit wall. He's stuck on some tires down there for safety. If it was real racing, it would be for safety so that the driver doesn't hit just a concrete wall. Matthew McMeekin with huge issues, and there is a caution. I'll quickly look and see if there was anything else to bring that caution out. Possibly, actually, Craig Lerman. No, he's in the pits. Well, actually may have been him. No, I think he had parked it after the issue with Tyler Justice. I think that was the 14. That's kind of bizarre.
Maybe he just tried
the parameters there for the caution.
I don't know. Maybe he just tried to get it back going again and he spun it, or no, it doesn't look like it.
No, because we were on him. We were watching the whole thing unfold. So we'll watch at turn 4 here. I think he's just going to get loose through the quad oval, and exactly that. He ends up spinning towards the outside wall, catches the safer barrier, ends up spinning down, like you said, through the exit of pit lane, and like I mentioned, onto the tires there in the pit wall, or I guess the infield wall in turn number 1. Couldn't get the car off for a bit, finally backed it off, and as soon as he went back onto the apron, again, interesting parameters here for iRacing for the caution gets thrown, it's seen as a hazard to the race, and we finally have that race break.
Yeah, and a really good break, I'd say, for Cody Spiker there. So we're going to get ready to go back to green here. I think we'll have about 3 or 4 laps left in it.
I think the big break is mostly for Mike Bruno, because I'm looking now in the pit lane, and Mark Broderick has some right side damage that wasn't there before, so Mike Bruno now could be in the catbird seat on this restart to work the top lane around the 32 and possibly have a chance at the win. But also, this opens up the chance for Spence Thompson, and Jason Alexander actually stayed out. So many storylines right now, Brendan. This is why the NMNTS has so many different cars and so many different tracks that they go to and run in, because you have the storylines over in the Super Late Model Series, the Super Series on Sundays, be it just all-out domination from Tyler Justice, or, at New Smyrna, the cautions, just bringing opportunities for smaller drivers like Kelsey Rogers to get into 4th place. You have last night with Zach Lindgren and Bradley Wilson from WFM Motorsports just dominating the entirety of the night. Now you have, Jason Alexander will come into the pits, but I was going to say Jason Alexander possibly giving himself a chance to win this race. He does end up pulling it back in, but he could have just stayed out. I think it would have been a decent idea. At this point in the race, what else can you do?
Yeah, especially as we just got ready to say, I mean, there's just a few laps to hold it on. At least maybe you fall back to like 5th or so. So I think that wouldn't have been a bad idea for him.
Tyler Justice gets back up to speed under the caution. He's going to try and get back out there, see what he can do. Again, you're looking at the front tires there coming down towards you if it's a head-on shot. He's got a hood, but nothing else in the front end aside from very mangled fenders and a windshield. And a bumper bar and a radiator, I'll give him that. But just heartbreak, I think, for Tyler Justice. He was set up to have a win. He really was. And now just from hero to zero, really, for Tyler Justice, and it's not his fault.
Yeah, luckily, though, he is still in the lead lap, so he's going to be scored in 12th. I don't think he'll have anything to move forward, really, but not really as bad of a night as last night, but obviously some heartbreak not having a chance to win.
Well, on this, which will be the final restart of the night, we will have Mark Broderick in 1st place. Don't want to get into the heads of these guys too much, so that's why we decided to forego the interview. There we go. With a driver out in the field. Don't want to mess with them too much coming to the final restart of the night, because these guys will be coming to the green with 4 laps to go. That means we are within that window where if we get another caution, the race is over, and we'll just pace to the finish. So, these guys have to be careful. If they want to race this one out, each and every driver is responsible to keep this one clean and green to the end. It's only 4 laps. That's, well, I gotta think now. I was gonna just pop up a number, but it's going to be 6 miles, I do believe, from the drop of the green flag to the end of the race. Brendan, who's your pick on this restart?
I think Mark Broderick's got it in the bag here. I think he'll be able to hold him off.
Well, then I've got to go with the guy to his outside. I think Mike Bruno. He hasn't touched a thing out there, except maybe a few unfortunate bugs while he was leading this race in the open and clean air. But Mike Bruno just ran a pretty good, just an amazing race, I should say. He's been second a lot, but running second, there's nothing wrong with running second. You're still up front. You're still putting yourself in a position to set up for a championship later on. It's still real early, but as we come to the final restart of the night at Atlanta, Mark Broderick on the loud pedal getting this race restarted. Spence Thompson now coming through to 2nd place, or at least trying to by turns 1 and 2. Look out for Cody Spiker. He's in the 4th.
And as we mentioned here, good on the short runs. This is definitely going to be a short run. Spence Thompson actually is going to almost clear him. Bruno a little bit loose off the corner. He's going to get cleared. Spiker to 4th, Alan Westman in 5th.
Here comes Spence Thompson on the bottom side, making the move, trying to get by the 32. Doesn't quite have the move made, but he's certainly trying. I think he's going to lead to the line. It's Spence Thompson.
We've seen that high line, though. The high line can carry some speed here. a lot of connection issues for Alan Westman there.
The 19 having issues on the bottom side, almost backed up to 22. Spence Thompson, now your leader, 2.5 laps to go at Atlanta. And Mark Broderick, kind of mired on the top side in a box down the straightaways, has the chance, though, out of turn 4 here. But the 89 starting to drive away here, Brennan.
He's pulling away. Spence Thompson making it work. Bruno's going to try the inside again here on Mark Broderick, though. More connection issues for Alan Westman. Hopefully he can get it sorted before the race ends. Broderick's going to end up losing the spot. Bruno a little bit loose off the exit again here. So now we're Spence Thompson, Mike Bruno second, Mark Broderick third, Alan Westman, then Cody Spiker to round out the top 5. We got 1 to go coming to the line.
White flag in the air. And Spence Thompson just has to come around one more time, 1.5 miles, but Mike Bruno, one of the most intimidating and consistent drivers in the NMNTS, on his rear bumper. It's going to be a thriller, ladies and gentlemen, into turns 3 and 4. Spence Thompson trying to hang on to this win at Atlanta, rebounding from a dismal run last night in the Sovaga Chevrolet. He's going to rebound and out of turns 3 and 4 if he hangs on. Spence Thompson is going to win at Atlanta in the BA Graphix Cup Series. Give it to Spence. Further back, a spin out of Alan Westman. Across the line, he will cross in 4th position, just ahead of Cody Spiker. But the big story of the night, from a sleeper pick to suddenly just commanding the finish of that race, Spence Thompson wins at Atlanta.
He definitely picked the time to show up and show off though. He came in, he started that restart 3rd, and then it took him just over a lap, and he was the leader.
Yeah, just a phenomenal restart. That was, like, you could not ask for a better restart out of a driver, and I know Bradley Wilson in the chat is ecstatic, saying WFO sweeps Atlanta. That's exactly right. Zach Lindgren wins last night's race at Atlanta in the Truck Series. Spence Thompson comes home in 1st place in the BA Graphix Cup Series. A big weekend for WFO, continuing some huge successes at Daytona.
Definitely a happy team owner there in the chat, I'm sure.
And I tell you what, Spence Thompson has been trying to find his big break once more, get back to his winning ways, and he just found him. He is back in victory lane, Spence Thompson, with just Toyota on the hood. If you own a company out there and you're watching this race at some point, get in contact with us. We will set you up with WFO Motorsports to get your logos on that number 89 because he deserves it. Well, we'll set up for the interviews. We should be talking with Mark Broderick, Mike Bruno, and Spence Thompson. 3 really good names to talk to after a race, I must say. And Brendan, I'll let you bring up Mark Broderick when you're ready.
Alrighty.
Left front on the white line.
Mark, this is Bruno up here in the side booth. You got a copy with us?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, weren't able to hold on to the lead you had there at the drop of the green flag there. Describe those last couple laps.
I was just a sitting duck with the damage. There was nothing I could do, so it is what it is.
Overall, though, I'd say you had a really great race, though, still coming home 3rd, and other than that, we saw you in a lot of the race in the top 10. How'd the car feel the whole night?
I was pretty good. I was having computer issues through the first 2 stages, so I was just kind of kept having to go to the back because just trying to get some stuff figured out. And then in the 2nd stage, about the caution in there, I finally got it figured out, and I was able to go from about 18th, 7th on a lap run there. And in the final stage, it just put left front on the white line and work.
It definitely will. As I mentioned, not really able quite to hold on to it, though. What strategy-wise coming to that this last stage here, obviously we had to make a pit stop in there, and we had a caution break as well. What were you looking for anybody to drop in and then you were going to go too, or did you have just a lap set in your head there?
I just usually go halfway down the middle. I think maybe I was about 3 or 4 laps over it, but Yeah, I don't think I would have ever caught Tyler if Tyler didn't get taken out there. So
Yeah, definitely. He's had a rough week in the last 2 days. Unfortunately, some big incidents for him. We'll give you an opportunity here. You have anybody you'd like to shout out, sponsors, anything like that? Help you put it on.
yeah, I'd like to thank Tide Products, 1000.com, Michael Redding, and the Beer Hill Gang.
Alrighty. Well, I think we'll get you moved back down here, bud. Congrats again on that 3rd place.
Thank you.
And again, that was 3rd place finishing Mark Broderick out of Pennsylvania. And believe me, he will stand up for the PA posse any day. But yeah, a great run out of him. I really thought he had that win in the bag, and then we had that late caution. And tell you what, it went from 1st place to 3rd place real quick for him. Unfortunately, he couldn't keep it up there. Like he mentioned, he had some damage there, and I think that's really what cost him on that restart. But nonetheless, we're going to bring in his teammate, Mike Bruno.
You just pushed Tyler.
Mike Bruno, do you have a copy?
10-4, I got you.
Well, Mike, sorry to interrupt you there. I guess we're talking with Spence, but man, I mentioned it just a little bit ago. You ran one heck of a race. It really almost
I
a
appreciate
perfect
it.
race next to, winning each stage. I think coming second in all 3 stages, I believe, for stages 1 and 2, and then the end of the race. I don't know if you can get any more perfect than that as far as points overall.
Yeah, it was definitely an awesome night, man. Great job by everybody. My heart is still pounding right now. Yeah, it's real bad tough luck for Tyler, man. He just got caught up in some stuff there, man, and he really kind of had to. I don't want to say he had it in the bag, but he was definitely really fast, and he was definitely going to be tough to beat. But same with Broderick, man. He had one hell of a car. Spence too. You can't obviously the winner of the race. He was all them guys were just amazing tonight. But yeah, 2nd place. I can't be mad at that. I'll take that any day of the week. And all in all, this was an awesome race. Really, really good race.
Yeah, it definitely was. I know Brennan and I watching the race were really impressed by, all the clean green racing. We knew coming into tonight that it was going to be really slick for you guys. And, I gave it a shot in NIS, and I didn't like what I saw. So, quite honestly, I thought it was going to be even more of a handful for you guys, but you made it look real easy. Really, everyone in the field did a great job of keeping it clean and green most of the night.
They really did.
Yeah, so just a great run. I think that was really indicative of the old NMNTS and just really showing driver skill. I thought that was really good.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it was kind of tight to begin, but man, I tell you what, after 10, 15 laps, that thing was a handful, and it just kind of snapped out from under you, and you really had to be good with your throttle control tonight, or that thing was gonna come right out from under you.
Well, Mike, before we let you go, I'll turn you over to Brendan.
Well, congratulate you again on the 2nd place, and just mention a tough break
Thank
for
you,
you
bud.
guys at Atlanta with the team. Unfortunately, Michael Redding having a rough night again, and Tyler again. So
Yeah.
Beasley as well. So
Yeah, it seems to happen at the beginning of the season. We just have some tough luck, and like we'll be running great, and then something happens, and that's racing. It sucks when it happens, but we'll get out of this hole we're in. And I mean, not that we're really in a hole, but you know what I mean. Just tough luck for guys the past few nights, but yeah, it sucks. We'll just keep stepping forward and keep taking what we can get.
it definitely, I think both you and Tyler are pretty obvious choices for the late season runs to look out for. So
I appreciate
see
that,
what you
man.
guys can do with it.
Yeah, just real quick, if I could, I want to say congrats to Spence on the win. Just want to say thanks to Mark and Spence and all them guys for the awesome racing tonight. Westman was up there, all them guys, man. This was just a really, really good race. And I just want to say thanks to my sponsors. Almost forgot SimSpec and Sovaga. Thanks a lot to those guys, Ken Younce, John Barron. Thanks, Bradley, for putting on this awesome league, and thank you guys for doing what you do.
Well, thank you, man, for putting on a great show tonight, and we'll be looking forward to next weekend in Las Vegas. See what you can do there.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Again, that was Mike Bruno, second place finisher tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway. A great way to bounce back from somewhat of a struggle last night after some early damage. And, he definitely fought back really valiantly, but a great way to bounce back tonight was to finish second place in all 3 stages of the race. And now, Brendan, I'll turn it over to you to start off with Spence Thompson.
Alrighty. Load up. Hey, Spence, it's Bruno up here in the booth. You got to go with us?
Yes, sir, guys.
Alrighty, well, we're coming home a winner tonight. I'm sure that feels really great.
Oh, it definitely does, man. It was such a rush coming down to that to those final few laps right there. It was just it was definitely getting down to it. It was definitely some tense times going on inside the car there and getting ready to go on that last restart. I knew pretty much knew what I had to do. It was just a matter of being able to go out there and execute it, and we executed it pretty much to perfection right there. I can't say enough about all the guys that raced up front tonight, and being able to bring this 89 car home tonight in the Cup Series to bring it to victory lane. It's awesome. I can't even believe it. I just did this.
Yeah, man, I got to tell you what, that was one heck of a restart there to get past both Bruno and Roderick like that almost right away, and then just you really started to take off with it, and then Bruno started to really get back in. I think maybe a couple more laps he may have had something for you, but it's a great finish obviously for you, and kind of running out of things to say. I'm sorry, but
you're okay, man. Yeah, like you said, dude. I mean, it's truly awesome being able to race against guys that that know that'll race you hard, they'll race you clean. Big thanks over there to Mike Bruno for the awesome racing tonight. I mean, good run by him. Broderick, I know it's probably heartbreaking for him. He definitely had the car to beat on that long green run that we had late in the race in that 3rd stage. But yeah, it's just like a complete 180 from last night. I mean, last night we definitely had a rough outing in the truck. Crashed out with less than 10 laps to go, and being able to come back in a rebound like this and be able to bring this car, put this car in the victory lane, it's awesome. It's just, like I said, it's a rut. I mean, it was I'm almost speechless too. It's like I said, I can't believe I was so ecstatic when we were able to pull this one off tonight. And got to thank all the guys on WFO Motorsports team. I mean, all the support from all of our teammates, Zach, Robbie, and especially Brad Wilson for believing me, be able to put this car together for this Cup season. Brad, proud to put the car in victory lane for you, bud. Hopefully you're watching. I know you had some problems tonight, but gotta say a big thanks to you, brother. And like I said, I just can't thank all these guys on this WFO team enough, man. These guys deserve it, and I mean, it's awesome to be able to put this car in victory lane tonight.
I can definitely tell you, Brad was out there. He was very ecstatic for the win. He messaged right away over in the Facebook chat. You guys actually mentioned that you guys sweeped Atlanta because Zach won last night, so
yeah, that was a good deal as well.
It was a great performance for you guys this weekend. So, Andrew, you have anything you want to add?
Definitely, yeah. Your team owner was over the moon with you getting this win to back up Zach last night, and obviously Brad and Zach had their issues tonight, but you turn around from your issues last night, put it behind you like the champ you are, and Spence, it's real cool to see you come out here and get back to your winning ways. Does this spell good things for the championship hunt?
Oh, I think it definitely does. I mean, it seems like we're just having like the complete opposite of season that we would expect to be having in here. At one point, I was kind of, debating on whether to just run a part-time Cup season and just focus on the trucks. But it's like, I mean, given we're still going to work hard at the trucks, I mean, it feels like we're having a Jimmy Johnson-like season to start off in the trucks so far. But it couldn't be like the polar opposite for the Cup Series right now, man. To be able to back up the 10th place run at Daytona and then come into Atlanta and be able to back up Zach's win last night in the trucks and be able to sweep Atlanta like this. I mean, like I said, it's awesome, and it's just a feeling that it's hopefully we can, like you were talking about, hopefully we can just carry this on and be able to hopefully see some championship success in this thing. Looking forward to it this year.
Yeah, definitely. You've certainly asserted yourself and your team really as at least favorites to battle with for the championship, I think, or at least a position in the respective hunt in the Truck Series and the Chase over here. And now all that's left, I think, is putting yourself out front in the Super Series if you can never get a night off. Granted, you won't be able to run full time.
Yeah.
But man,
And we had a good run in those cars a couple of Sundays ago. I mean, you were of course down in Daytona enjoying the race down there, but yeah, we were able to have a second place run the first race there, and then we missed the one this Sunday. But every now and then we'll try to pop in there and hopefully be able to duke it out with those boys on Sunday nights in the super lates.
Yeah, for sure. I think it would be really cool to see you back over there a couple of times. And either way, a great car. And by the way, it looks better in Victory Lane than I did on my computer screen making it. So really cool to see that thing finally getting a win. I thought maybe you were going to retire it, but I like seeing it out there. So great job tonight. And we'll hopefully get to talk to you even more this coming weekend at Las Vegas.
Appreciate it, and thank you very much, man.
And again, guys, watching at home, that was Spence Thompson, the champion from Season 1 in the NMNTS Monday Night Thunder Truck Series. So he's no stranger to the winning ways here in the NMNTS Racing Series, and what do you know, he's right back to doing just that. Now we just got to see if Mike Bruno can finally catch his break and get back into victory lane in 2018. But that will be for another time. Going into Las Vegas next weekend, I think, presents a great opportunity for him. Brendan, I turn it over to you for the top 10.
Alrighty, well, the top 3 we already been through. Spence Thompson coming home with the win, Mike Bruno second, and Mark Broderick's going to finish third tonight. 4th place to Alan Westman, had a good run. We saw him there starting to lose already coming into the line. 5th place to Cody Spiker, really good finish for him, the rookie. 6th going to Jared Wishon, another one. That's a really good finish for him as a rookie driver as well. Jason Alexander in 7th. And 8th coming to David Heise. He had a little bit of struggles going on there, so that's a good finish for him. Christopher Matthews coming home 9th tonight. And Derek Robinson finishing 10th. A pretty good finish for him as well.
And in 11th, we'll have Gordon Larson Jr., pretty much backing up his run through 2017 as just a consistent guy trying to make the chase, doing just that here, finishing 11th at Atlanta. Kenneth Yachts comes home in 12th. Maybe not where maybe he should have been based on his early performance, but still a pretty good run out of Kenneth Yachts to come home 12th. Tyler Justice with the heartbreak after the contact with Craig Lerman earlier in the race puts him 9 seconds back at the drop of the checkers in the 13th spot. Matthew McMeekin in his just the second start ever for him in the NMNTS Racing Series comes home in 14th. Jason Burgess, after early troubles with Michael Redding, bounces back to a relatively decent finish, at least considering what he went through, in 15th. Trevor Harmon in 16th. Craig Lerman 17th. Terry Mason unfortunately just ends up in 18th after, I believe, a motor failure after having a ton of damage to that car. Kenny Yachts, similar issues, in 19th. Michael Redding ends up in 20th. And I think that rounds out no, that does not round out the field. What am I talking about? There's still 6 more for you, Brendan.
Alrighty, 21st tonight was Clayton Kurtz. Again, some more engine issues there. Corey Walters, I think the same boat, lost his as well. Same with John Byrne in 23rd. 22nd to Corey Walters, excuse me, I didn't mention that. Bradley Wilson had some connection issues tonight as well, in 24th, and as well as Zach Lindgren finishing 25th tonight. And then we saw Jared Beasley had that bad accident on the second restart, which pretty much ended his night in 26th, and then that rounds out the field.
Yeah, that is the field from Atlanta Motor Speedway tonight in Hampton, Georgia. Brendan, it was a pleasure covering this weekend with you. A lot of really good racing. Even when it was just caution-filled at New Smyrna, it was great racing in between. And I really enjoyed this weekend. Hopefully everybody at home did as well. And you can tune in more to PSI TV to catch just that throughout 2018 and hopefully beyond. And if you're looking to partner up either with PSI TV or one of the leagues we cover, just look up Pit Stop TV on Facebook or on YouTube. I think we have a Pit Stop Insider Twitter. You can even find us on Twitch, and just find a way to contact us. You can also go and email andrewciv71@gmail.com for business inquiries, and even if you're looking to set us up and reserve us for a weekend or a day throughout the week, you can do that as well. At any one of those contacts, just message us, and we'll get you set up. You can also, of course, sponsor one of these leagues, one of their races, one of the drivers. You can just message us, and we'll point you in the right direction. Other than that, though, thanks everyone for tuning in. This has been a great night of great action here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Brendan, do you have any closing thoughts?
Just say overall, I think Lance, he mentioned it pretty well. It was a great race tonight, and last night as well. The whole weekend really rounded up in some really great racing. It's good to see for the season opener for us, I guess you could call it. We did catch last Sundays, but our first really go at it for the NMNTS this season. Really great racing. I like what we saw a lot tonight, and hopefully we can see a lot more of it come the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I shouldn't even say I hope we'll see more, because we will see more. So just hang on for the ride. Be it if you're an NMNTS fan, one of these drivers' fans, or a fan of us, we really appreciate it. And of course, make sure to like our page, subscribe to our YouTube, and follow us over on Twitch. And obviously, give this broadcast a like as well if you enjoyed it. If you have any criticisms for us, please let us know, be it in the comments or a message if you feel that's necessary. Please let us know. We're open to anything. But that has been Pit Stop TV from Atlanta with coverage of the BA Graphix Cup Series. Tune in next time for coverage from Las Vegas. Next up in the NMNTS, it'll be the PSI TV Super Series from the Bull Ring at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, followed by the truck race and cup race from the Big Oval in Las Vegas, Nevada. Tune in again, like I said, for just more action. I think we even have something coming up this Saturday night. Just come back to PSI TV anytime. We've got races archived, and we will see you next time.